Welcome to Hardly Initiated's Late Night Special. It is your host, Tyshawn Jackson, here with another episode. My co-host, Ryan Ketchens.
This is a little different today because we got a treat for y'all. Y'all see, we haven't rocked the headphones. Let me turn this off real quick. We haven't rocked the headphones in months.
Yeah.
It's very different.
Feel like a real radio show right now.
Yeah, it is a radio show.
Absolutely, guys. We're going to have a great show here. We got the fan favorites in the building. If y'all already rock with the show, you've been waiting inside the chat. You already know who this beautiful brown couple is that we have here back on the set, rocking their My Marriage is Dope shirts that I still don't have some yet, but we go get our shirts one of these days. I can't wait to rock it on the set.
Oh, the status will be, you'll get your status when you get your status.
Oh, can I rock it when I'm single?
You want to rock it without the status, though.
That's what it is. You waiting for me to get married?
That would be false advertising.
Oh, no. That's how you get some good ladies. They were like, "Oh, you married?" No, I'm not. I want to be.
Right.
No, that's when you just respond. Maybe.
but you on the road though, right? You on the road.
Listen. I'm working. I'm working progressively towards getting this thing. But y'all keep persuading me every show the benefits of marriage. So you know.
The benefits.
Y'all selling me on this whole thing now.
Yeah,
Shannon.
Y'all make it look good though.
It is benefits.
Okay.
It is benefits, man. You know, it's them hot meals, it's them foot rubs.
Oh.
It's that, you know, I've talked a lot about my health journey. When you wake up and you look over and she's sitting over there or he's sitting over there and it's like, what you need? Are you there? Man, you can't beat that, bro.
That's a blessing.
Where you gonna get that single? I mean, your homegirl gonna pop up?
Yeah, it ain't. Yeah, single is kind of stragglers.
Unless you're in a relationship and you got a good one, you know what I'm saying. But it's just benefits, man. Health. People that are in strong marriages, not perfect marriages, but strong marriages, they live longer.
Ooh.
They live healthier lives.
Hold on, don't get too deep into it yet because I didn't even. First of all, I forgot to introduce the people.
Listen, we already got some people checking in. Some people we got Erica Minas. She said she from the Bahamas, married for 29 years. So we got the long couple saying
She OG.
She is an OG. And speaking of OG, we have the OGs. We in here rocking with Shannon and Shirley from Marriage Inc., the dopest marriage coaches in the game. Probably, is this the third time now y'all been on the show?
This is actually the fourth. We were on together and then we were on separately.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was 3 times. And
that's
now
true.
This is the 4th time. We just need to have a segment, bro. Once a month. Just a segment.
Frequent flyers.
Yeah, for sure. At least once a month.
Segment.
A Q&A, definitely a Q&A segment.
And guess what, y'all? The reason we actually having these headphones on is because y'all stay tuned and stay patient in the show. We kept telling y'all that we taking this thing to the next level. We kept telling y'all that we are going to be doing call-ins. And today it happens. I got to keep these headphones on so I can hear your voices as it comes through the phone. So stay tuned as we have one of our members hop on the show live. And we have this beautiful couple here, these coaches here, put them on game on how to handle the situations. But today we are going to be talking about dealing with resentment in your relationship. This was motivated by a post that you guys put on your Instagram page today. I looked on the Instagram page, Marriage Inc. popped up. You better follow Marriage Inc. if you're not. And it said something along the lines of the Bible says to love your enemies.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
And then right after that, it says that means you need to love your partner.
Yes, sir.
And listen, sometimes your lover can become your enemies.
Facts.
Today, we're going to be talking about dealing with resentment when that does happen. And we're going to go there. Y'all ready?
Can I tell you something?
What's up?
I didn't even know that post existed.
Hey, you back there. You back there moving.
So I'm surprised. Like, I'm like, ooh, that's good. Oh, we gonna get some engagement on that thing.
Oh yeah, it's about to go crazy today. I think that segment. So guys, be patient with us. We only got one call in today, but we growing this thing. So we expect the phone lines to be off the chart. I want to give a couple shout outs before we get started with this beautiful couple. As a matter of fact, do this, guys. If you have seen Shannon and Shirley on the show, if you've seen their episode Rethinking Infidelity and Divorce, if you've seen them on our relationship series, Should I Stay in This Relationship? Please drop a fire emoji in the chat right now because I just want to see who's out there already familiar with you guys from the channel. And real quick, Vanita, shout out to Vanita Jackson, man. Vanita getting us started. Vanita, we're gonna get this soundproof. And if you hear it now, we already have done some things to improve the sound. $3,500 is what it's gonna cost us to get this studio soundproof. Vanita, she's already throwing something in the collection plate because that's gonna go toward that $3,500. So we
Come
can
on,
give y'all
Vanita.
the absolute best sound. And listen, I only got one thing I need y'all to do right now. Matter of fact, two. The first thing is hit the like button. The more like buttons we get within the first 15 minutes, the more YouTube will share this information. And
Please.
we are all about promoting happy, successful, long-term relationships. And the second thing I want you guys to do, I'm actually going to drop in a link because we need you guys' contact information. We have officially decided to do an event this fall. So if you want us to reach out to you, want us to let you know about the event, please go ahead and send us your contact info.
Let's get it popping. Let's get it rocking. And y'all know I already kind of told you guys we're going to be talking about resentment today on the show. So what I want to do, let's start here. We hear, many of us may have heard that word. Many of us may not necessarily understand it. So can you guys give me your take so the audience get a better understanding of what does it mean to be dealing with, what does resentment mean? Look at that. They patiently trying to figure out who's going to go first. That's so cute.
No, that's code for you speak up. No, but resentment is I think we find ourselves in a place of resentment when well, I mean, I don't want to give, I don't even know Webster's definition. I just know, what it has felt like for me, and resentment is that place when you begin to see someone in your life that's supposed to be this close to you. It don't really have to be close to you. It could be you to me or me to Ryan, right? Just when you start seeing them as real adversarial, and you begin to see something in them that is hurtful to you, that is upsetting to you, that is something that my mother used to say, you working my nerves, you're getting on my nerves.
Yeah.
And when you have that happening long enough over and over and over again, then you start to develop something in your heart. Or if you see someone experiencing a certain type of life and you want to experience that certain kind of life. So resentment and jealousy are kind of can run in, along the same lines. But resentment is a lot more personal and has a deeper root personally, I believe.
Actually, going back to the definition, I looked it up. It just says resentment describes a negative emotional reaction to being mistreated. Okay. And that's very simple definition. So I like the explanation you kind of gave of kind of describing what it feels like to be in that place. And help me out here. For somebody that might be experiencing this in a relationship, because that's a dangerous place to be. If you're in love with somebody, you plan on having a long-term relationship with somebody, and you feeling these emotions, how can someone probably identify that this is where they are? Like, are there some signs or symptoms that you probably experiencing resentment at a point in time? If how would they know?
Well, I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. John Gottman, but
that's the OG, right?
Right.
Yeah.
In relationships, and he has developed this concept called the 4 horsemen. And the 4 horsemen is, biblically, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse is like they preceded the destruction, right? And so he developed these 4 horsemen that if you see these things in place, then the destruction of a relationship is pending, like it's on its way. And one of those things is stonewalling. And stonewalling comes from a place of resentment. It is nurtured in a place of resentment. And stonewalling is when I just shut down a conversation. Like we're not talking about this no more. Or I just walk out.
Right.
And I don't come back and revisit the conversation. That's called stonewalling. And resentment, stonewalling has its foundations in resentment. When you start feeling a certain type of way about your relationship, about who you in relationship with, and then you start developing these kinds of negative feelings, right, Ty, that help to bring about this feeling of resentment. Like, Like you just think you all that. You just get on my nerves, or you get on my nerves, or I'm tired of you treating me like this, and so I'm going to shut all the way down on you. And so this foundation of resentment is can lead to some very, very relationally destructive types of spaces.
I feel like I hear that. And I'm gonna just say this real quick, Shirley. But I feel like I hear that stonewalling be used as a strategy quite a bit. I mean, I think you hear from husbands and wives, it's like, we just not talking right now. Does that qualify as stonewalling?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but there's a way to do it. Right?
Got
You could do, we're not talking right now, in a healthy manner.
Gotcha.
But it's very important, the question that you asked, how do you know? That's an internal, there's an internal dialogue going on with yourself, right? So it's interesting. The definition, it says when somebody has hurt you. You could have resentment and nobody has hurt you, right? So I've resented people. They didn't even know it. They didn't even have a relationship with me. Nothing, right? It was my perception of them, right? My perception that you did something to me. And so that's me. That's a me issue. Then there is somebody has hurt me. Right. So it's just important to have the internal dialogue to understand if the resentment is warranted. Because when somebody hurts you, it is warranted. But to keep that resentment, that's what's not warranted.
To live in that resentful space.
Okay.
That's where you are. Every time you see them, you just like, ugh.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
You know?
yes.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Actually, let's actually pop off with an early poll. I want to ask the audience if they've ever experienced that emotion in any of their relationships. Like, have they ever resented their partners?
I'm gonna drop that poll, guys. Have you ever resented a partner? And real quick, while we're on it too, because I wanted to do this real quick, I want to give a shout out to our chat moderators. Guys, remember, we're doing lives every Monday and Wednesday at 8 p.m. We also do our transformational interviews every Sunday at 5 p.m. And we got 3 moderators. So shout out to Janelle S. Walker. All right. Shout out to Wifey, capital W-I-F-E. And shout out to KN. Now, these 3 ladies will be our moderators. Now, I'm going to go ahead and ladies, be patient with me because I'm going to give you everything that we need from you. But, guys, if you get out of control in this chat, you don't keep it respectful, these ladies might kick you out. So you better watch out.
They're like the Sandman.
Yeah.
Up in here.
Right. But I'm going to go ahead and drop that poll for
Now,
Tyshawn.
you know y'all is going to some old other level when y'all got moderators. Y'all didn't have no moderators 2-3 weeks ago, a month ago, 2 months ago.
It's going fast. That's why let me tell y'all, go ahead and also y'all better be members of this chat. Because again, the members, they the ones here that requested to have Shannon Shirley back up on here. The members is dictating.
Come on, members.
What we're doing on the platform. So y'all better go ahead and join that membership here ASAP. And let's get back to it, guys. Because I kind of want to know you guys personally. For those of you who don't know, Shannon and Shirley have been married now for 26 years.
26 years.
Let me tell you, that's a long time to do anything.
Yeah.
Come on, applause.
26 years.
Come on,
so
applause.
I want to ask this here. Have you guys ever fell into a season of resentment?
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Seasons.
Have we not?
Seasons. Yeah, absolutely.
Describe kind of like personally now. I want to describe kind of what was it that may have put you guys in that place? What was the buildup to that place of resentment?
So for me, can I go?
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, resentment came knocking at our door early. So we got married, and then we not too long after we got married, we had our first child. Almost like 18 months after we got married, we had our first child, and he was Jelani. You just met him. Jelani, right?
Just turned 25.
Just turned 25. Just beautiful, and just we were so happy. We teared up, just being, new dutiful parents. And some financial circumstances changed, and so we had to move, and we went to move in with my mother. And I didn't know at the time Shirley was postpartally depressed. I didn't know it. I just was like, this ain't the woman I married. You lazy. You just all you doing is looking at the baby. Like it seemed like I would leave the house, go to work, and come back, and she would be in the exact same position. Now I know, of course, she went to the bathroom, she did whatever, right? But it just
Right.
seemed like she was just like, you're not doing nothing. So then we was at my mom's, and she wasn't really very like contributing to the household. She was taking care of the baby, but like, you go to you staying at your parents' house, you going, as a guy, if I'm staying at her parents' house, I'm gonna cut the grass, I'm going off to take the trash out or whatever. She wasn't really kind of doing that. And then I had some people that were family friends of ours that was kind of in my ear, like, what's going on? Like, you is she all right? Is she? And I was just like, what's wrong? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, and I started resenting like the very fact that she was not contributing. Here we are in my mother. Now I had us in my mother's house. That was my fault, right? But here I am trying to do the best with with my circumstances and situation, and but I found myself in a resentful place, and where I went with that resentful place was not good. I started thinking like, did I make a mistake? Is this what marriage is supposed to be? This is my second marriage. I mean, I don't want to, get divorced again. It's like, what is going on? So resentment showed up early for me. And then let me tell you, I can almost tell you when resentment showed up for Shirley. So the sport that I love is cycling, right?
Wow, okay.
Cycling. I might not
didn't
look
know
like it. I might not look like it, but that's cycling. Like when the Tour de France comes on in July, the house shuts down for me. That's like my Super Bowl.
Wow.
So I rode with some guys back in DC, and now we're in Philly, and I hadn't had a bike in a while. I wanted a bike, so I was like, hey, I want to get back into riding. I want to be healthy, and so I'm gonna work and get this bike. So the bike was like $3,000-$4,000. So I worked.
Oh, you a real cyclist.
First off, so me and Ty got bikes, and we thought 1,200 was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Facts.
Right,
You
so-
was going
You
crazy.
cycling.
I was
Right.
pissed too.
So I worked 9 or 10 doubles as a nurse in a row so that I could get this bike,
Oh, you was grinding.
right? But I didn't work 9 or 10 doubles in a row
Right.
to get my family out of my mother's house.
Wow.
Right. So we were supposed to be there
Mm.
6 months, ended up being there over 3 years.
Mm.
Wow.
So I'm like, what? So you work for a bike, but you won't work for your family. That's some old backwards stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm gonna tell you. Well, I can't tell you.
Like,
mama.
you know what I'm saying? It's just so
Yeah.
yeah. Resentment.
So
really.
resentment jumped in early in our marriage, and then how she also probably I don't want to speak for you, babe, but you probably were very resentful at how I was not understanding
Mhm.
because we didn't know what was going on with you. We discovered via deduction that she was postpartally depressed, but we didn't know that.
So what did that look like? So when you were having these feelings personally, because I think people could deal with it differently and respond differently. How were you now responding with him being in this, when you were in that resentful place?
Mhm.
Did you become snappy? Did you just stop talking? Did you get disrespectful? What were you doing at this point?
For me, it was passive aggressive. So I would kind of shut down. I would be argumentative and then shut down. And then I would hold the issue for a long time. So that's how it played out with me.
And then she internalized it. She internalized
Oh,
a
yes.
lot.
Mhm.
So, the whole, hey, how you, what's wrong? Oh, nothing. She wouldn't just be, out with it. And as a result of that, you could feel a little wedge coming. So then I found myself like, well, I ain't trying to come home to that. So I would be lingering. I'd be going to bike shops. I'd be in places, that I shouldn't be. And
But and let me say this, with the resentment that he had, it's so important to communicate, because he created a narrative about what was wrong with me, which caused him to behave and to be something different based on the narrative that he created, opposed to treating me how he should have based on what was actually going on. You understand? So he made assumptions about what was going on with me.
Definitely
Mm.
made assumptions.
Okay. And
So-
that's easy to do.
That is very easy to do. And then what happens is then you begin to do other things for you that's not healthy for the relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying cheating. Like you could, like you said, he just going to bike shops, right? So now that's less time
just
at home. That's
wouldn't
less
come home.
time, helping with the children, things of that nature. But it adds up over time.
And see, these are very like insidious problems because like you don't really see it's not really loud, it's not really in your face, but these problems are building
They're
up.
building up.
You somewhere else, you're not with your partner, you probably don't want to be around them, you probably don't even kind of like looking at them, you kind of see them and negative thoughts start popping up in your
Yeah.
head.
Yep.
And y'all probably not talking about it,
Mhm.
probably saying some slick comments, pissing each other off even more,
Yep.
making each other want to be less around each other.
Yeah.
And it's just like you just really becoming emotionally bankrupt
Mhm.
in the relationship over time. And then people kind of end up in this spot and be like, how did I
How
get
did I
here?
get here?
You know what
Yeah.
that is, Ty? We describe that as now as it's very similar to termite damage or water damage.
Mm.
It starts, it never starts with a termite infestation,
Right.
right? It's usually one or two termites. They come in, they start eating, they start procreating, and all of a sudden it grows to an infestation or water damage. It always starts more often than not, unless it's like a hurricane or something like that, just a drip.
Yeah.
It's just a drip. And then the next thing you notice, you look up on the wall and there's a stain. And you're like, well, where did that come from? But you ignore it. And it just keeps dripping and dripping. And the next thing you know, when it's time for you to sell your house, the home inspector is saying, oh, you got water damage or you got termite damage. And now it's a raging, roaring fire that needs to be addressed now. But it didn't start that way. It started out, like you said, Tyshawn, as a slow trickle.
Let me ask you this, because I did some research before the show popped off, because I wanted to look up some of the top reasons that resentment can build in your relationship. And you actually named one of them. I was going to go to a little later. I'm going to go to it right now.
Okay.
One of them was actually unequal contribution
Mm.
in a relationship.
Absolutely.
Unequal contribution.
Mm.
And you felt like you was putting in more in a relationship than your partner was. First off, I want to ask this. Is it for the contribution of a relationship to become lopsided at certain points in time over a span of a relationship? Is that a normal thing to take place?
It's very normal.
I think it starts off wrong, because because we're two different human beings. We come from two different spaces. We have all of these different things that are different about us. It shouldn't be equal giving. It should be equal sacrifice.
Mm.
So if I give 50%, you should give. No, it shouldn't be like that. It should be, I should give my best and you should give your best. But your best might not be equal to my best, but it is your best. And it is a sacrifice for you. So as long as you're sacrificing, I think that it's wrong to think that, a person should give you, because we're always at different places. She had just had a baby. She was in postpartum depression, which a lot of women experience, which is already horrific in itself. She already was feeling bad, and she felt bad about her body image. She was really doing the best she could. But all I could see is, you ain't washing the dishes. You ain't helping around the house. I should have been able to come to my folks and say, hey, we just had a baby. She's dealing with some things. She's all right. I married a good woman. And when she's ready to start contributing, she'll start contributing. But I couldn't show up for her like that because I thought it was equal giving, not equal sacrifice.
Now, I do want to, if y'all don't mind, because I want to kind of slow down here a bit, because you mentioned postpartum depression. And I know we're talking about resentment, but postpartum depression is something that many couples, I would imagine most couples actually experience, from after childbirth. But could you give us some insight, specifically you, Shirley, first, about what is postpartum depression? And then Shannon, I want you to talk about kind of, when did you actually become aware that Shirley was actually dealing with that?
So for me, what it looked like, it's just when you do not have the drive. Sometimes you don't even have to drive to take care of your child.
Mm.
And so like Shannon said, I would wash the clothes, right? And then sit the clothes on the couch or the bed or something. And then he'd come home. I'm sitting in the same spot and the clothes hadn't been folded, like nothing's changed. I literally did not have the emotional energy to take care of the things that needed to be taken care of. That's postpartum depression. And I didn't even know what was going on. I didn't even know that I had postpartum depression.
Mm.
I just felt blah.
Had you heard of? I'm sure you've heard of women having it before,
heard of
but
it,
you
but
just didn't even
nobody's
know you was
talking to
coming
me,
into it.
right.
Bro, I went to nursing school. I studied it.
Wow.
I'm thinking,
I didn't know.
I'm thinking postpartum depression, it is something very overt. And sometimes it is, but sometimes it is not. Sometimes it's not. I was in that category. It was just a subtle thing. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like
get it.
sometimes postpartum depression, like you literally want to hurt your child.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Wow.
So
Mhm.
so there are levels to it.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it was just subtle. I just did not have the drive to do anything.
And at that time, Shannon, did you have some OGs that came to you and told you that, or did you realize that well after it had already passed?
It was well after. It was like, oh,
that
were.
what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, it was well after.
See, that's tricky because you made a really good point. It shouldn't be equal giving, it should be equal sacrifice. The problem is it's easier to measure the giving part.
Yes.
You wash the dishes 3 times a week. I went to work 5 times. The giving part is easy to measure.
Yes.
The sacrifice part is a little less harder
Mm-hmm.
to see what people are sacrificing.
Mm-hmm.
So how should a couple know if it's really equal giving, or I'm sorry, not equal giving, but how does a couple know if it's really equal sacrifice? How do you know that?
Well, let me say this. The resentment comes in because really we're not communicating our expectations, right? So in Shannon's mind, he's doing his own thing. In my mind, I'm doing my own thing, but it's not matching up to each other's expectations.
Mhm.
So you have to start with the conversation, right? We're looking at each other's schedules. We're looking at what's going on in each other's lives. You have that, okay, this is what I could do. This is what I can do. When Shannon's on the road 9 months out of the year, which his career, that's what happened. So that's definitely not equal giving to the household, within the household, outside of him paying the bills. So as a wife, am I going to complain about that or understand he can't be here? He's on the road working, right? So I'd say I was a single mom, like for a lot of my boys' life. I was a single mom.
Yeah,
I didn't want to be a single mom. Am I going to complain about it? Or are we going to work together and say, hey, you do this until you don't have to do this anymore?
And
But-
it's crazy.
but
I sacrificed. The sacrifice for me in that particular situation was I'm not in a lot of pictures.
Mm.
Like I'll be looking at pictures. I was like, well, what was that? And I was on the road. I missed a lot of, just wonderful, amazing times with Shirley and the boys and our friends in our community. And there were a lot of pictures that I'm just not in simply because I was on the road. And so that was a sacrifice.
And let me say this too, we have this whole idea of what we should be as a spouse, and we're not really looking at the dynamics within our own household, right?
Mhm.
So a man will
Mhm.
say, because I make the money, there are certain things I don't have to do within the household. Come on. Right? You think that's my giving. That's the extent of what my giving should be. Resentment is going to come in.
Definitely.
You have to have these conversations that, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm willing to do. Be on the same page with that. But that comes with being honest as well about what you're willing to do and what you want to do.
This is actually the whole, what do you bring to the table conversation, if you will. It's like, because really the table is the relationship.
Mhm.
Like, what do you bring to the relationship? And from what you're explaining, it's the only way to know whether or not it's equal sacrifice is for your expectations, both of you guys' expectations to be communicated and met. If your expectations are met, then we good. The sacrifice, we understand each other's sacrifice, and we're okay with it at that point in time.
But your expectations aren't always going to be met.
Because your
have to-
expectations might be unreasonable as well. Right? I shouldn't have, like, if I would have had it was a reasonable expectation to if we're living in my mother's house for you to wash the dishes. That's reasonable, right?
That's
not
reasonable.
right. But she wasn't even in that space. So in that moment, it was unreasonable for me to expect for her to step up to the plate like that.
But a lot of times too, right? That's 100. But a lot of times we're going into resentment when the expectations aren't being met, opposed to just understanding bro, we're human. We are just human. A person is not always going to meet your expectations, even though they should. But then again, should they? Right? When do we allow for grace? When is that? Right? And so I'm not saying don't do your job. You have to do your job and you have to carry your weight. But stop comparing your job with your spouse's job. See, that's, and what we do, we find there's a lot of comparing.
A lot, yeah.
Well, she's doing this and he's doing that, and I'm doing all of this. And then when we break it down, I'm telling you, a lot of times one spouse is giving so much, and the one who is not is the one complaining and expecting so much.
Wow. Why is that? Why is that?
Selfishness, bro.
Selfish.
People are selfish. People care about their own self-interest, period. And that really is a level of trauma, because there are levels to trauma.
Right.
That's the level of trauma of you not wanting to come outside of your comfort zone for whatever your reason is.
I'm a proponent of removing expectations. Just flat out. Just because if you remove those expectations, you can't be disappointed. And it's oftentimes seems almost unreasonable when I say that, like, how you remove expectations. But if I don't have expectations of you, it's no way for you to disappoint me. It's like, it is what it is. We're going to take life as it comes, and you're going to do what you can do in our relationship, in our friendship, in our interactions. And I don't expect anything more of you. Or anytime I've put my expectations on people, more often than not, I set myself up to be disappointed.
Absolutely.
Because people are human. You can't operate on all cylinders like that all the time and expect for there to be a good outcome. It's not possible.
You know, it's interesting because it does seem impossible. I mean, even when you think about it, when you at your wedding and you're saying vows is like expectations. This is what I expect you to do.
That's a good point.
I expect you, you're literally stating what you expect from this person at the moment you guys are getting married. But I understand there are times for grace. Like, I understand there are moments that things can get unbalanced. Like, you talk about moments of mental illness. You know, I remember Jeremy Anderson came on. He even talked about a moment where his wife was literally having physical sickness, and he had to make sacrifices, and he kind of felt at some points he was at a disadvantage or whatever the case was, but he had to power through that and just kind of look at that differently. But I really don't see how, you can not have expectations, but I do see how we need to employ grace at certain points and times in the relationship. But it's interesting that you guys brought that up, because I'm telling you, unequal contributions was one of the largest. I remember my mom growing up, I used to hear her say it all the time. My mom used to always talk about how she felt like she was the one taking on the load of the kids. Like it was me. I'm the one helping the kids with the homework. I'm the one going to the PTA meetings.
Wait, so I'm
the one knowing this.
When she was expressing herself like that, she was still actively in the relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so matter of fact, because that's a concern, right? So with you guys, when you were feeling those levels of disappointment and resentment, who were you communicating to? Whether it was a healthy outlet or an unhealthy outlet?
Unhealthy outlets for me.
Both.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And,
I mean,
and
both.
unhealthy outlets could that doesn't necessarily mean inappropriate relationships. I could be talking to one of my boys, but speaking about her in a negative way. And so and unless you got, I was, but what I wouldn't talk to, I mean, because it was ET, it was other friends in our community that you just couldn't badmouth. I couldn't badmouth Shirley with E. No way could I just. I remember one time he was like, "Well, just get a divorce then." And I was like, bro,
He wasn't trying to hear that.
Did you have to scorch the earth like that? Like, but he was frustrated. Like, don't talk about my baby sis like that or my sis like that. But also too, like, if you either piss or get off the pot, like it was his thing. But stop complaining.
Yeah.
And so that's just something that you just got to really, really pay a lot of attention to. Go ahead, baby.
Let me say this about expectations, because the reality is we are going to have expectations of other humans. That's just the reality. But what happens is we have expectations more of others than we do ourselves. And so we encourage people to have expectations of yourself more than you do others, right? I absolutely have an expectation for him to provide, for him to be faithful, for him to be respectful to me. I do have these expectations, right? So don't think that's not even human to not have expectations. But we ride the expectations we have for others. And that's where the problem comes in. And that's where resentment comes in, because they're not rising to the occasion of meeting those expectations on the level that you would want. You don't even hold yourself to that level.
That's a really good point. You got high expectations for other people than you do for yourself.
Yes.
Wow.
That's unfair.
Yeah.
Much higher.
Exactly.
That's absolutely unfair.
Yeah.
I want to do this real quick because I know y'all mentioned about getting a monthly segment.
Yeah.
The audience, the fans, the listeners, they making a strong case for y'all because these super chats are going crazy. So I got to run through these real quick. Shout out to let me see. Shout out to EJT sending over that 20 piece. We appreciate that. Shout out to King
That's
Anderson
love.
matching the 20 piece. Shout out to Adrian King sending their first super chat over. We appreciate that. Shout out to Kat Harlem. She says, here's a little something towards the soundproof upgrade. Yo, wing, wing. We
need
appreciate
that.
that. Shout out to Robert Heatley. Shout out to Janelle Walker. Not only is she the moderator, she just officially hit her 1 month membership. She said, yo, support the campaign. That's what Janelle say. Shout out to Present. She says, absolutely love the work you're doing, fellas. I appreciate you all so much. This is like therapy, counseling, and coaching all in one. Continue to grow and be blessed as you bless others.
Facts.
I can only say Marriage Inc. turning up the heat. And shout out to Sharon Battle. Sharon or Sharon, I want to make sure I get that right. But shout out to Sharon sending that over. And guys, it's going crazy. We at 37 minutes, over 330 people in the chat right now. And we got 147 votes on this poll. Have you ever experienced resentment in your relationship? 96% of people say absolutely.
Damn.
Yeah.
96%.
Yeah. That 4% of never, I'm pretty sure they made a mistake.
Yesterday.
Yeah, they made a mistake and click that.
Yeah, listen, y'all better share. Well, y'all better share this video then, because if 96% of people saying yes, that means that this is something that we definitely need to be talking about.
Yeah.
I'm jumping all over the show prep, Ryan. You're gonna see me kind of hit in different ways because
No,
y'all
you're
are bringing up you brought up another one of the top things that cause resentment they have here is comparison, right? And you guys brought up comparison. Now here's the tricky thing about comparison, because I get how it can be very bad to compare. And some comparisons, like, is it that bad? Because, for example, is it wrong of you to compare who they are now to who they were back in the day, right? Like, listen, you used to be, nice and slim. Now you're all wide as outside. Like, I'm just using that as well. I'm being silly, but something because somebody may have exhibited some really, been strong in one area in the relationship, and they might slack. Is using can using comparison in a relationship be healthy at times?
I don't think that is healthy. If somebody slacks, what's the root of their slack? Right? Did she drop 4 babies for you? Right? Were they depressed? Like, there is a root. So what we do is we deal with the behavior of the person, opposed to why are they being like that? Why are they doing what they're doing?
Looking at the root cause.
Well, that's it. You have to look at the root cause. So just comparing, no, there's a reason. Seek to find that out.
So I think comparison, right? I'm gonna give you 2 examples of comparison. One where you shouldn't do it, and one where you should.
Okay.
Right? One where you shouldn't do it. I would say to Shirley, when we were dating, you would be swinging from the chandelier. Now you have a chandelier aversion, like you scared of chandeliers now. Now that we married, right? And that was a comparison that I shouldn't make because circumstances had changed. Now she was completely my responsibility. Before, she had the responsibility of herself and her parents, looked out for her and things of that nature. But now she is under my roof and under my responsibility. And as a result of that, now her stressors are different. Her expectations are different than when we were dating. And so for me to compare our sexual relationship to a pre-marriage juxtaposed to post-marriage, that's not a good comparison. Now, where a good comparison is I would say to her, if you treat me like our sons, you would get a lot more out of me. So I compared myself to my sons to bring a awareness to the contrast in how I was being treated, juxtaposed to how she was being treated. She had more grace with them. She gave them more mercy. She gave them more affection and love and understanding. For me, I was a grown ass man who, you don't need all that from me. Well, I did need all that from me, from her. And so that comparison it's a comparison with meaning, where I'm trying to point out something that it was a little later that she got it. It was a lot later that she got it, but she got it, and she does treat me like my boys now.
Shannon,
she treats me better than my boys now.
This perspective that you bring in is very enlightening, because what you will hear a lot of times from both men and women that, hey,
you don't want a wife, you want a mama.
Well, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And you'll hear, hey, once we got married, things change. So it sounds like once you get married, you should expect things to change.
You should expect it to change. Absolutely.
Man.
So that
we all evolve. And then life, like, how do you not change when you have children in the picture, when your job is stressful, like other family dynamics? How does life not change?
Right.
How do you expect for the person to stay the same?
That's an unreasonable expectation.
That is very unreasonable. And listen, you as a single man, you're still not the person you were 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
Just as a human, we evolve. So now 2 people trying to become one. What's going to happen?
The whole situation is different.
And you hear that a lot in relationships.
Yeah.
When they want to leave it, they be like, it's just not the same. It's not the same anymore.
And it's not supposed to be the same. It really isn't. Like, why would you expect someone? I don't look the same. I don't have. Okay, for example, when I met, this is a rudimentary example, but it's an example nonetheless. When I met Shirley, I hated grits. Absolutely despised grits. I wouldn't even think. I'm from up north. I was like, nah. I mean, I'm not.
So you cream of wheat?
Yeah, I ate cream of wheat.
Cream of wheat.
I ate cream of wheat. I ate cream of wheat. I just thought grits was like eating dirt, like grits, dirt. Like it sounded the same, right? Now, I had some good grits last night, bro. A boss took us out to dinner, and I had a little blackened redfish on some grits. That was okay, because this one over here makes the second best grits I've ever had in my life. The second best. You know who made the first?
Ooh, her mom.
No, bro, me, bro.
Oh, you fine? You fine? Wait.
He don't, but
okay,
whatever.
But I mean, just for the record, Shirley, can Shannon cook?
Oh, the brother can burn.
Okay, so we got to come to the
That's an
Marriage
advantage.
Inc. Barbecue.
We got our own catering company and everything. Oh yeah, we cooked.
That's why we moved to
we
Atlanta
cooked.
for a food concept.
Yes.
Yeah,
Wow, okay.
That's why we moved to Atlanta.
Look,
So-
I gotta go ahead.
Yeah, but so like I think I made my point, right? It's just there's times when you should, and there's times when you should.
And this is the crazy thing. If you embrace it, your life will be way more exciting.
Mm.
Why would I want to just be in a marriage where the person just stays the same?
Yeah.
Right. So we have to learn how to embrace the changes. Right. You know, sometimes you see you know, your husband be like, you know, put a wig on, like be somebody else. So when we change and grow, why not explore that person and we fit into each other's box that way?
I don't want you putting no wigs on. I want me to get you.
You know, but you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
I get exactly what you're saying.
But we could do something different. But
No wigs. No wigs.
No
That's
wigs.
You sound like
I
Tyshawn.
can't
Tyshawn,
stand
he
no wig,
anti-wig.
bro.
I mean, I'm not. I mean, you know, I mean, if she throwing a wig on and give me a different look, I
Yeah,
ain't
like
mad.
a blind wig or something. You know,
Yeah, I ain't mad at that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't mad at
Spicy.
if we having some fun with it, that's different. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, these super chats. Is
Yeah,
just,
no,
yo,
bring him in. They asking
yeah,
great questions.
These are
Bring him
some
in.
great questions. So, hey, shout out to King Anderson. He
One
says,
of the most. He is right now, King. You are the most active brother in the chat. You are truly the king of the chat right
You
now.
know what, King?
Representing the fellas,
Listen.
man. Big shout out to you. I need you on every single live chat, brother.
No, Ty. We need King recruiting other strong brothers to get in the chat. That's what we
Facts.
need, King. We need you. Question for the guest. He says, at times when you felt the other was giving less or you wanted them to give more, how did you communicate that in a healthy way to avoid conflict? And that's an assumption, King. You assuming they was communicating healthy.
So we weren't early on, right? But to help him out, how do you communicate it? You just have to be honest. A lot of us are so afraid to be honest. So we'll broach the subject, right? But we're tiptoeing around it. You have to say, hey, listen, this is what I'm feeling. This is what's going on. What can we do about this?
Mm.
Where are you with this? Do you even see this? Just be honest. Just put it out there. Don't be afraid of your truth. Don't be afraid of how the other person will respond. Because listen, how are we going to change if we don't know the butt naked truth?
Mm.
So if you tiptoe around it, the information that you give me, I'm moving off of the information that you give me.
So in practically in business, right? In certain fields, especially some construction, general contracting, certain types of information systems or internet systems types of companies, right? When they are on a job site, they do what they call DFRs, which are daily field reports. So at the end of the day, you actually have a discussion about what was done, what we got completed, what needs to be completed. Were there any supplies that needed to be ordered? There's like this debrief of sorts, and it happens in as a nurse for many years. You got to work early because you wanted to be there for report. What was report?
Right.
You had the off-going nurse and the oncoming nurse, and they would sit and talk about the patients and whatever happened during our, what got done, what didn't get done, what are we waiting for, their orders, we're waiting for the doctor to call back for this, blah, 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 so forth and so on. If you didn't have those discussions and those conversations, you would just be getting all manner of care, or projects wouldn't even be able to get done.
Chaos.
So couples, they just leave. That's what Marriage Inc. is all about. It's bringing these business success concepts to the marriage relationship. So now we're going to be coaching our couples to do DFRs. Now you don't have to do it daily, but you should regularly check in to see how are we doing, where are we at, what do we need, where are we financially, how are the kids doing? Like,
And the
especially
thing
if
is
you have parents, spouses that are busy. If you don't have these types of, ongoing regular discussions, there's no way for you to plot a course for your marriage forward.
And let me say this too, King. It's not just you saying it, but it's how you're saying it. That is so important for the person to receive and you guys to have a healthy dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if you go in attacking, you're not doing this and that's not going to work.
That's criticism. That's another
Right.
one of the
And
four
which
horsemen
causes
of the
resentment.
apocalypse that leads to
heavy
resentment.
resentment.
So Shirley, I'm thinking about what you're saying, and I'm thinking about my future woman, right? And that communication piece, her coming to me saying she needs X, she needs Y, and I'm like, okay, I can handle that. I like what you're saying. Now I'm thinking about on the other end, and if I had some, some things I would like her to improve on, if it came to, doing this around the house or, getting this done or helping me out with this, I think that'd be pretty easy for me. But one of the things that I can imagine me just having trouble with, and Shannon, you tell me how you would even operate, how you even deliver this. But if I had to ask of my wife to show me more love, I just think that's just it seems like just a scary, vulnerable. I mean, am I wrong because the reason I would be apprehensive about that, because everything the way I've been taught is that's just being needy. But I know how important it is to get that love. So how did you fight the stigmas that come with expressing to your wife, like, hey, I just need you to love me more?
Bro, I don't have no stigmas.
He doesn't.
Wow.
I don't pay no attention to no stigmas at all. I'm going to tell you how I feel. I'm going to tell you what I need. If you just refuse to do it, that's on you. But I don't have no issues about saying and speaking about what my needs are. And that's some of the internal work that you have to do. You have to decide to replace these social lies with the truth, right? And the truth is, if you had a son and your son came to you and was like, hey, daddy, I need a hug, you would never say that he was being needy. Never. And so all a child is a little human being. That's all they are. They're a little person with the same needs, the same. Now, of course, as you grow, you get mature. There's certain ways that you handle not getting those needs. So if you had a little, baby, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, whatever, and they fell out and they were throwing a tantrum, okay, you don't spank their butt or whatever. You try to figure out what's wrong and you try to meet that need. Well, you have, when you see a man out doing things that he's not supposed to be doing, that's a tantrum. That's a tantrum.
Didn't think of it like that.
Right. That's like when, especially when they're married and you ain't supposed to be doing this. That's a tantrum. And oftentimes those tantrums are met with, an emotional spanking. And that doesn't serve the situation in any way, shape, or form. And so you got to do the internal work, replace the lies with the truth. It is absolutely not needy for you to express your needs in a way. Now, if you acting a fool, throwing tantrums, if you're being divisive, if you're being malicious, if you're being mean, now, okay, you have to go. You're on timeout now. Now you acting a plumb fool. You disrupting the house, right? But if you come and you present that need, and now how you act without it, without getting it, that's another conversation.
And that's why you have to choose properly. That's why it's so important. The first step to not even have that issue. If you have that issue, it will be because of you if you chose properly.
Got you.
We got some good questions in the chat, man. Go ahead and hit those because we actually getting close to this call. After we hit this question, we're gonna actually call our anonymous member. She wants to stay anonymous, and we're gonna get her actually in the phone line. So producer, get ready for that.
Yo, y'all are showing so much love to Marriage Inc. right now because these questions, this is how I know y'all some experts because they ready with these questions.
They coming.
Shout out to Robert Heatley. Robert, look, join the membership, man. We waiting on you. He says, what if you express to your partner all the fears you have of getting married, and then they go about starting to do everything you said you feared?
Then you leave. Bro.
Then you leave.
Wow.
Period.
Yeah,
They're showing you who they are. It will not get better if you go ahead and cross that threshold of marriage.
That's toxic.
Well, no, I think, and he's a guy asking that. So I agree with you, Shirley, because I think that sometimes, and you let me know if it is right, but I just have, just from things that I've experienced and, friends, their experiences, I've had where, like guys have told me that they thought that their significant other was intentionally sabotaging the relationship because they didn't actually want to be in their relationships. They were really trying to do these things to communicate, hey, I don't really want to take it there with you.
Mhm.
Have y'all ever heard anything like that, or heard of anybody?
Yeah,
just-
people do that. People sabotage
all the time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just it's really it's so much easier to just say, you know something, this is not serving us.
yeah.
right,
We do
right.
it, they do it in the workforce.
Mhm.
You know, they'll bring you in, you know, they'll give you an exit interview.
Mm.
They'll say, Tyshawn, you know, we're going to move in another direction.
Yeah.
This isn't
You-
working for me.
Right. And it's really simple. It doesn't have to be something that's
Yeah.
so, you know, you know, it doesn't have to be toxic. But then you also have self-fulfilling prophecies. Like you ever heard that term in psychology?
Yeah, I heard of it.
Self-fulfilling prophecy. You don't start injecting your fears into a relationship, because the very thing that you inject into the relationship, you're gonna start seeing. And I don't know why
That's a
the
good
universe does that.
Yeah, because the way the brain works, like
Yeah.
you've planted a seed in that person.
And now all of a
So-
sudden, when my mother-in-law passed, she gave our son she willed him her minivan, nice minivan, Honda Odyssey.
Oh yeah, that's the expensive minivan.
Honda Odyssey, right? All of a sudden, we started seeing Honda Odysseys everywhere.
right.
Everywhere. I see them all the time.
Mhm.
So self-fulfilling prophecies are real. And when you plant that seed, we in a modern day, we call it inception, right? You plant the seed, you plant the seed at the right time, and then you see that walk its way out in our lives. So man, just if you got some fears, man, just manage those fears yourself. You don't have to introduce them. Not to say that you can't talk about your fears, but don't now you talk about them and now you're manifesting them because you're dwelling on them.
And sometimes we are so fearful, we're seeing things that aren't actually happening.
Mhm.
Right. So all of a sudden, she's just doing all the fears.
right.
Right?
He said he followed up and said, well, I'm not gonna say unfortunately, but he said they just got married 2 years in.
Oh,
So yeah, so they got some things they got to
wow.
work out.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tap
Say,
in
hey,
marriage
send-
Inc. Tap in.
send us a
Yeah,
DM,
tap into
brother.
Marriage Inc.
Send us a
Yeah.
DM, brother.
He might be the next
Yeah,
caller.
you might be
we got to hear about
be
that.
the next caller, brother.
Yeah.
Join
So-
that membership.
Shout out to Mira J76. She says, "Hey Ryan and Ty and guests, peace and love to y'all in the chat community. Can members still gift memberships to others, dropping a little something for the building fund?" Mira, listen, all gifts are appreciated. You can absolutely gift. Oh, listen, gift your favorite, because we got some people that's been in the chat. They're waiting to be members. Go ahead and gift your favorite person, Mira. We would appreciate that. I see Yali in there. Shout out to Yali. Janelle just gifted a membership. Yo, the super chat's going crazy. We can run the whole show in these chats. Shout out
Facts.
to Anna, just sent in the super chat. She says, "Oh yeah, this was a bar by Shannon. She treats me better than my sons. Why spouses should come before children? I agree with this. As
Mhm.
long as
Mhm.
mom and dad are good, the kids are
right.
good. Would y'all agree with that?
100%.
100%.
Okay.
This whole children before the spouse, negative. It doesn't work.
Mm.
And I don't care what nobody says. Your spouse is not happy. Like talked to women and said, my husband doesn't have a problem with that. I cannot believe that. I cannot believe that.
Or maybe the problem just ain't happened yet. That snowball, them termites eating away.
Them termites
Them
eating
termites
away.
eating, baby girl.
And listen,
Water just
listen,
dripping.
Listen,
Yeah.
some men, and I'll tell you, some men don't say anything for fear of the repercussions,
Yeah.
right? They have to sleep with us. And so he's like, yeah, that poom poom, I'm not about to give that up for, you know what, you can have that.
Right.
You can have that. Because I know if I say something, this is what you're going to take away.
And honestly,
Is there ever a good? Is that ever healthy to just disregard some feelings? Sometimes for example, I remember my uncle and aunt. My uncle was upset. He clearly was upset, and then I'm just looking at my uncle. My auntie was like, "He'll be all right. He'll be back in 30 minutes." And it was just kind of like not a big deal.
Mhm.
So if there's ever any time where just disregarding somebody's emotion is healthy
In the moment, yeah,
in the moment,
Yeah.
got you.
right. So we could come back and talk about it. Like she knew, don't bother him. That just let him go, decompress. It's something we need to talk about.
And
We'll talk
actually,
about it.
that is one of the ones we have here. We actually gonna hit that one next because
Wow.
another actual cause of resentment is disregarding feelings.
Disregard.
We
That's
are
huge.
actually
That's
going
huge.
to go about talking about that, but right after we get I call her on. Hopefully, guys. Hopefully she answers. Hey, producer Lano, go ahead and make that call because we want to bring this anonymous member in to the chat here.
Oh, we're keeping it anonymous.
We're gonna keep it anonymous. She wants to
Okay.
keep this anonymous. And
Okay,
guys,
good.
that's the beauty of it. If you want to stay anonymous, you don't necessarily have to go about. We're not gonna air you out if you want to keep it private. But I do want our members to send us a DM if this is something that you would also like. If you would also like to go about doing so, Lano, go ahead and make that call.
I just love how the members communicate with each other. Shout out to Jonathan Adams. Jonathan actually was motivated by King Anderson. He says, "Look, I had to join King in here with the fellas." Oh, there
That's
we
actually,
go.
we hear it ringing.
It's exciting.
It is exciting.
Do y'all hear that phone ringing? Can y'all hear that?
I
We
think
hear it,
everybody
we
can
hear
hear
it.
it. I think everybody can hear it. Why is it ringing like that? Lano, you got Metro PC?
Hello? This is getting
Hey,
serious.
what's up, babe? This is Tyshawn with Harley Initiated. How are you?
How are you?
I'm excellent. Can you hear me pretty clearly?
I can. Nice to hear me.
This is what I need you to do because you're gonna be live on air. So I want you to try to. I know you got the babies in the back. Try to find the best room you can so we can be able to talk to you because we got Marriage Inc. here live on set with us, and I want you to be able to communicate with them what you were communicating with us online, and you have the floor. Okay?
And she needs to come. She needs to not be on speaker too.
Yeah,
And you cannot be on speaker.
Yes, I'm speaker. I think I'm
Wait. Say it again now.
able to hear me?
I need you to also mute the actual. You cannot. I need you to mute the actual show if you got the show on playing. Yeah, you got to turn all the volume down because I think we can hear ourselves.
Oh wow. Okay. This is exciting.
Is that better?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Can you hear me? Yes, I can.
Okay, so go ahead. You kind of choppy, but we're gonna try to do our best to make it out. Go ahead and talk to us.
Go ahead. Okay. Part of it that I expressed in my DMs, or it's been touched by you guys. I'm watching since the show started today. Essentially, I've been with my husband since I was 16, so I had a good understanding of who he was and what we're planning on and everything as far as our lives go. But time of people change because I did hear you talk about that.
Hey, hold on, wait. I need you to hold on one quick second because I don't think we can hear you very clearly. And just
Okay.
Lano, by the way, is this they calling your phone directly or is this Wi-Fi? It's a direct call?
Nope. This
Okay.
is a direct call on my phone.
Okay, it's a direct call to your phone. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, you kind of just chopping in and out. I'm not sure why.
Let's try to
unfortunately.
hang it up and call right back.
Let's try to hang up and call right back. We're gonna try to see if we can make this happen.
Yeah,
Okay.
but just make sure that you get into a private room and just don't have it on speaker. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
We're gonna call you right back. All right, y'all. So go ahead, hang up, and call her right back. We're gonna try to make this thing here happen because we got to get these callers on the phone here. Yeah, again, y'all, if y'all want to go ahead and make this happen,
Be
I need
patient
y'all
with
to
us.
send us a DM. Hang on in there.
Right to the question, right? And then if we need background.
Okay.
Okay. Any better?
It's a little bit better. Go ahead.
Get straight to the question, and then we'll get the background in just a second. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I said my question is a little different now that I watched, but the part I want to ask to start is, how do you find a way to give this to your partner when they're outright choose to hurt you?
So I think, and correct me if I got this right. You said, how do you find a way to get close to your partner when they're outright trying to hurt you?
Give. I know that that's something that's essential for a relationship, and I'm struggling to find a place of understanding to continue in the role that I'm in our relationship. So, would you struggle with that? How do you continue to find grace when you know that they're choosing to hurt you?
How do you find grace when they're choosing to hurt you in the relationship? That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, I got it. So that's
Yeah, that's so many questions I would want to ask. When you say they're choosing to hurt you. If you could just expound just on that piece a little bit, choosing how.
Say it again now.
When you said that he's choosing to hurt you, can you expound on that piece a little bit? He's choosing how, in what way?
All different ways. Like, if I say that I need something, he would choose to do the opposite of that. It could be something simple as a 5 minute with the kid. He'll leave for hours.
Did y'all get that?
Yeah, so he would leave for hours. I want you to understand that if someone is leaving that in their home environment for hours, it's for a reason.
And there's two reasons.
And it's more often than not be just because they're choosing to hurt you, even though the leaving is hurting you. They're choosing to remove themselves from an environment that is not conducive for their emotional stability in that moment.
Okay.
So the question then becomes, if he would be open to speaking with you about is, what is it that you're feeling in the moment that makes you want to leave the house?
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling? What is happening in you internally that makes you want to leave? And if you really want to be butt naked about it, you could say, is there anything that I'm doing that makes you want to leave the house? But I believe you can answer that question. If you think hard and long about it, I bet you know why he's leaving the house.
Because listen, if he came into the relationship like this, that's one thing. But if the relationship was not like this, then something happened, or over time, some things continue to happen that help to cause the disconnect.
And just curious, you guys are married, correct?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
6 years in September.
6 years?
And you sent us a long message. And one of my biggest concerns why I wanted to bring you on here is because I was actually a little concerned, because I know, again, when them termites start eating and the damage starts getting a little worse, things could even start getting a little bit, more aggressive. The pain can start getting a little bit more aggressive, because it sounded like he's almost getting a little bit more aggressive with you, with just in general. I want to ask you this though: is he physically putting his hands on you or abusing you at all in a relationship? I just want to know. Let's start there.
He has.
Okay. Well,
so how do we handle that at a place where there's like physical abuse, Shannon and Shirley, in a relationship? When we get to that point, what is the best way to go about that?
Well, the first thing is understanding that no matter how much you do, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to change that. Right. So she wants to know, how can I get close and things of that nature. Well, if he's putting his hands on her, that's next level. Right. So that means he'll put his hands on anybody. I don't want to say it has nothing to do with her, but what it does have to do with any woman is that she's probably, how she is may trigger him. But that's on him.
That's on him. And
she should choose to handle the triggers that way.
She should definitely remove herself from the environment.
Absolutely.
There are shelters. There are, unfortunately, we hear the children in the background. Immediately, you should remove yourself from the environment.
And just by the way, I want to ask you this too. Does this happen often? Has it happened often in the relationship, or was it a one-time situation where that's happened to you?
it's not something that's occurring like a month or once or something like that, but it has occurred more than once in the relationship. Usually during times of high stress, fortunately, I was pregnant with 2 of our kids, and then when finances are bad.
Have you guys tried to get help, some type of support?
I tried go to swing or anything.
Did you guys get
Did
that?
did you say no?
I have tried. I've gotten us
Oh, you have tried.
a couple of different counselors that I signed up for, and he just refused to show up.
He refuses. Yeah, listen, your hands are tied, right? If he refuses, now it's basically like he has pushed you to do whatever it is that you need to do. And in the state of Georgia, especially because there's abuse, you don't have to leave the home. He could leave the home. I just don't suggest that you stay in a home where there's physical abuse. I just don't. That's just not a way to, you shouldn't keep your children in that environment because you're training them. Home is the training ground.
I know it sounds very, very scary. To you dedicated your life, you committed your life, you chose to have children together, and this is not something that you signed up for. And we believe that that God can work in any tough situation. But there's no but you cannot work in an environment, you cannot bring about healing in an environment that the potential for physical violence could escalate at any moment. Without the proper intervention, without the proper healing, without the proper anger management, he has to receive all of that. And if he's comfortable enough to put his hands on you more than once, he will do it again. And you cannot afford for that to happen. And so maybe after, you guys have been in communication with her, we can find out, we don't have to get into the down and dirty specifics, but we can find out where she is geographically and maybe find out some resources in the area where she is, so that she can get her and her children in a safe environment, and then they can start to hash out stuff. Like, so if he's not going to leave, he don't sound like a person that's just going to leave the house. He don't sound like that. It just doesn't sound like that. So she might need to leave the environment just so that she's not putting her life in danger.
Because that's unfortunately, I hear more than I like that, women do experience, physical violence, or that's something that can occur in a home. Just about every time that you guys hear that happen, if you're counseling anyone in particular, is pretty much your advice the same? Is it pretty much always to leave the house, or is there any way to ever work through that?
You can work through it. You just need to remove yourself from the environment.
Right.
So that there is no imminent danger. You need to remove yourself from the imminent danger or the potential for imminent danger. And then yes, work and go and go through whatever resources that you need to go through, but you don't need to stay in that environment.
Yeah, we rarely recommend separation. Like, people leave the house, you should not leave the house unless it's when there's physical abuse. And it's to separate. And in that separation, is there work being done?
Is there work being done? Yes. There should be work being done.
Right. And so if the work is being done, then we can come back together, hopefully.
And I think that's one of the biggest issues, because she also sent the dense message. She mentioned that here was one of the trickiest things. She mentioned he had some very narcissistic traits. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like he's not very much so open to cooperating with you when you offer any feedback, any things that you guys should do to change. Is that the situation? Are you feeling like he's not really cooperating well with you?
Yeah. And the reason I'm narcissistic is because outwardly, with my family, for example, he'll tell them that he wants to work on it, and he's getting advice. They're telling him, "These are the things you should do," and he'll tell me about the foundation, and then he will, all right, I'm doing that. I'm not doing this until I get what I want from you. So to present this facade that he wants us to be married and he wants us to work and have, kids be happy, have a relationship. When he's talking to me, it's not the case.
So your family members know that you guys have been physical? He's been physical with you?
So just kind of giving all these people trying to dig into this. There was an incident in February. I just had her back in April, so it was pregnant during the time. And because of that, he was removed from our home. So he's staying with one of my family members who's trying to look for him. So family member, and he'll know everything that's going on.
Is he still out of the home?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
So
But work isn't being done.
yeah, but work isn't being done.
Work's not done. I mean, it's to the point now that's the excuse not to meet at all actually with the kids. He doesn't have to physically with them. Kind of just ended up being kind of like a vacation.
Yeah, well, definitely. Listen, don't, I know as parents, we want to have the other parent involved. And so sometimes we'll make a decision based on that. Do not use that as the reason to have him come back. If he's going to be a father, he's going to be a father, and he'll be a father outside the home if that's what he wants to do. But do not choose to bring him back because you're like, well, the kids, he needs to have a relationship with the kids. That's his responsibility, not yours.
And I'm curious to know about that. Is he a good father?
Yeah, I mean, when he's with them, he loves their dad. He is very attentive to them when he's here, but he just kind of he doesn't take care of them. You guys have heard a million women say the same thing. I'm completely responsible for kids, and feeding, all of that stuff. He just I would say entertainment. So they're fantastic, happy with their dad. That's as much as he gives.
Okay.
Is that even possible, guys? Do you think it's possible for a man to still considered to be a good father and he's physically abusive in the home?
No, that's not possible.
I didn't think
You
so.
can't be a good father and you treat your children's mother like that.
Because they see it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask this too, because somebody put this in a super chat, and I'm curious to know this as well. But do you think that there was any way did you also abuse him? Like, was it like a back and forth in it, or did you, maybe throw a strike at him and it kind of went back and forth, or was it is he just asserting aggression on you solely?
It's been back and forth. So it started with her kid. I was 16, 18 when we started our relationship, and it would be little things. Kind of, I thought he was bullying, like a boy would pick on a young girl. That's how the relationship was. And over time, it got bigger to where he would tell me stuff like he was outside my apartment. A gun. I never saw the gun. He never came to my house or anything, so I wrote those things off. We separated for a few years after we had our friend, and when he came back, then began to be physically abusive. And then I used to react until 2020, would be back and forth at it because my mom was abused, and I was saying I'm gonna get hit, you get hit back. And so we had that while, but since 2020, it's just been him.
So you do realize. So you saw signs in this man, and you still chose to marry him.
when he came after 4 years, that wasn't the person. So yes, to answer your question, I absolutely did see when we were kids. And when it got to the point where I was fearful for what he would do to me or my son, I completely cut contact with him. He didn't try to be a father. I didn't hear from him almost 4 years. When he came back, he was a completely different guy. I mean, he was attentive, almost like I wrote this man down to a T, what he was. And then his brother died, and then everything that was toxic came back out.
Right. So you know, once again, we are definitely not proponents of ending relationships, but you have to consider the safety of yourself, the safety of your children, and the environment that you allow yourself and your children to be in. And you teach people how to treat you. And you know,
right now your focus should be you getting your healing. Like, be intentional about you healing. Be less intentional about trying to get this marriage back together, because if he's not doing the work, you're spinning your wheels. The cycle will start all over again.
And let me tell you what I want to do for you in particular is we're gonna reach out to you, privately after the show as well, to check up on you and try to see if we can employ any resources we can possibly. But one thing I do like is that you are a member of our channel and you tune in here, because I could tell if you're doing that, then that's one way I know you are investing in your personal development to get better and become a better person, a better woman for yourself, which I can absolutely respect and appreciate. So just look out for my correspondence, because I'm gonna most definitely reach out to you. But I appreciate you being open, honest, and brave to come up on here.
Absolutely.
And
sure.
actually come out here and seek help
for sure.
Yes.
to, figure some things out for you and your babies.
Yeah.
So with that being the case, much love to you. We'll be reaching out to you, and just look out for my correspondence. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
guys.
Blessings.
Thank you.
All right. So yeah, man, that was
That's tough,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that
That's
was
tough. That's tough. That's tough. And what makes it even more tough is, I mean, we've been through so much,
Mhm.
and so it's hard for us to tell couples
Yeah.
to
End it.
end
Yeah,
it. It's
yeah.
hard, man. It's a tough space. But and there were times when we were not willing to do individually. We were in different spaces and not willing to do the work.
Yeah.
But the one thing, well, Shirley did put her hands on me once, but for the most part, she punched me in my jaw real hard.
Well, hold on. We gotta hold on.
Shirley said she was a fighter.
Yeah,
Shirley
yeah.
said she was a fighter.
We gotta figure out what happened.
She
with
got
that
a
one.
nice
Oh,
right
my
hook.
gosh.
Well, we was in the throes of it, and I had her phone, and I was going through her phone, and she was like, "Give me my phone back," and I was like, "No, I'm not giving you your phone back. I'm going through it right now." And she was like, "Give me my phone back," and I was like, "No, I'm not giving you my phone back." Whack!
Wow.
Nice right hook, bro.
No, you said, I know you want to hit me. He was
I said that?
antagonizing. Yes, you
Got
did.
you.
Oh.
Got
He
you.
was like, hit me. I know you want to hit me. And I was just like, and he kept, and that's what I did.
And see, first of all, I know
Spousal abuse.
when you
It
at the
was.
place that you even going through somebody's phone, that's a dangerous place.
Oh,
Very.
Very.
When you feel that's how we coach now. When you feel the need, first of all, when you go looking, you're gonna find whatever you're looking for.
Yeah,
Right.
Because there's that sense for you to
go
that
in the
you
first place, right?
But we have a hard, fast rule, man. Leave people's phones alone.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
real.
They're grown. What's done in the dark will come out in the light. But this grabbing other people's property
Yeah.
and you feeling some sense of entitlement to be able to go through there. No, man. If it's that bad, then you need to leave.
Mm.
If it's that bad.
No, that's real. So it's always different.
And definitely not when you're dating. Lord Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
like-
hell yeah.
Because there's a lot of folks that's dating that deals with that.
Many people.
Oh yeah.
It's all over social media. People doing that.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is it's always different when it talks about domestic abuse with women, right? I think we take that a little bit lighter. Like, we don't take it as serious. Like, oh, it was a woman. I mean, and when I say we take it lighter, we don't think it's toxic, but we don't think like, brother, you need to call the police or get help or do this. So you are somebody, but you got a good example. Go ahead.
Male rape, like rape is not even a thing. Like, it's not even a consideration almost. Although, there are some cases that do go to court and what have you.
Come on, for men.
For men.
Yeah, for men.
But sexual assaults by women.
Right. But that's it's like, come on.
It's not really. Society does not
No.
take it as serious. So, but in general, though, you were somebody who used your discernment to say, you know what, even though I experienced this domestic violence, I'm going to hang in there and I'm going to work it out. So what did you see in particular that gave you that discernment?
Domestic violence is different than
it wasn't domestic violence.
But that's what it is, though, right?
No.
What's the difference?
That's a violent incident.
Right. That was a violent
So
incident.
if a dude cocks back and knocks and like punches a woman in the jaw,
I'm going to jail.
Right.
won't he go to jail for domestic violence?
Right. Yes. But it wasn't domestic violence.
Well, it is a difference.
I don't see this. I antagonized her. I was pushing the envelope. I was like, you what's
First
up?
of all, these women be antagonizing too sometimes.
Yeah, but it's
That's
no
true.
single. If a dude was to do, that's not a single incident.
So
He was harassing her.
Okay, so I
bullying,
think we're making a difference in domestic violence is continued violence, whereas the domestic incident is where it happens once.
I would
Right,
say
and
perpetual versus one.
And it doesn't matter if that he was antagonizing me. I shouldn't have put my hands on him. However, in the 28 years we've been together, that's the only time our hands have been on each other.
Okay.
Well, my hands, but he's never in that way. I mean, he's never pushed me like nothing. That's not.
I did shuffle at her once, like.
Oh yeah, he's tried to scare the crap out of me a couple of times, right? But
So
no.
I still want to know from you though, because it might be somebody that experienced that. They may have experienced an incident where their partner might have put their hands on them, or they may experience that. And what is the discernment that you use to say, you know what, this is not a deal breaker for me? Because a lot of people say that if anybody put their hands on me one time, I'm out of here, right? That's something that is commonly said, but you stuck in there. What was the kind of your thought process in saying, you know what, this is something that we can work through?
Well, I didn't expect for it to happen again. I was shocked when it happened. That's not who she is. That's not who she's been since.
Okay.
And so now I know how to leave. And that absolutely is a deal breaker. If Shirley was the type of woman that when she got upset with me, she put her hands on me, I would defend myself. I would defend myself with proper tactics that would not cause me
to remove yourself from the situation.
To remove myself from the situation, and I would not come back.
Yeah.
Flat out.
And at that time, it wasn't even about I'm upset. He antagonized me. Literally, I have said this consistently. There was a demonic spirit over me. I do not recognize that person. I was in a very dark place. Very dark place.
I still shouldn't have had her phone. I still shouldn't have grabbed her phone. When she asked me for it, I should have given it to her. Period. I should not. That's that right. I really, for all intents and purposes, I was exerting my will over her. And you might not receive this, but she was defending herself. She like, you're not going to intimidate me with taking my phone. And when I ask you for it, I expect to get it back from you. You're not going to bully me. And she defended herself. Right? She punched the bully in the jaw. And that was it.
Interesting, man. Let me tell you, first of all, I learned something new about y'all.
Right. Well, I mean, it's 26 years, so
right.
I mean, it's all kind of stuff we ain't heard yet.
Yeah,
it is, but it's important because the reality of the situation is people be experiencing this stuff.
Yes,
that's why I like to ask the hard questions, because I don't think we get much context in the world. Like, we hear, if he cheat, I'm leaving.
Yeah,
we hear, if I get hit, I'm leaving. We hear, if this happened, I'm gone. These are my boundaries, but it's not that black and white. Not all the time.
It's not.
Now, and I'm not condoning at all anybody putting their hands on nobody, just to be very clear. But I do understand that over a span of, years, just these conflicts and these things happen. And I want people to really understand how to work through how to best handle these things to be able to, be able to have success or get to the other side of the conflict. And I guess this might sound wrong because this is just a hard conversation to have in general, but what you just did was you took accountability in her putting her hands on you. Is there ever a time where, like, do you really need to do that at times when you're really thinking it through? Like, do you need to think, what did I cause to get us to that place?
You need to always think that.
Always.
You need, because there's always, we are more often than not, is what's the old saying? Is his story is his truth, is her truth, and it's the truth, right? And so there's I'm not saying all the time, it's definitely not all the time, but we can be antagonistic. Now our stance on cheating, because we hurt each other emotionally, we still chose to step out on each other. That was a decision that we made, and we shouldn't have made that decision. So we have to take ownership and accountability. The same with physical violence. Like she chose, she took accountability. She's like, I should not put my hands on him. But on the flip side, I should not have put her in that position. I definitely put her in that position. And all it did was bring out who she a fighter. She liked to fight. And so she's like, I'm not about to back down from you. I don't care how much taller you are, or how much bigger you are. You're not going to bully me. And even though she says there was a demonic spirit on her, for all intents and purposes, I spoke to the spirit and was like, do what you got to do. And the spirit did.
And I think
so that's all we could expect in situations like that sometimes.
But from what I'm seeing, and this is just my observation, and I would probably see what you guys think it is, because I think one of the biggest things you want to see if you're in that place and you considering, should we move through this? One of the biggest things that both of you guys are doing that I just love about you just guys as a couple so much is that you guys take extreme ownership and accountability of just about everything that went wrong and right in your relationship. And I think that's one of the biggest things that you probably should look for in that situation. Like if somebody's, whooping on you and they unapologetic about it, and probably even blaming you for the fact that you got whooped, that's a lot different from somebody who's not only very apologetic, but also taking accountability for their actions and, also talking about that, telling you that it won't happen. Those are all things that you will probably want to see and evaluate in your decision-making process. Is that correct?
You need to see it. You 100% have to see it. One of the biggest challenges in relationships are people are not taking accountability. And that's why one of the reasons why people are getting divorced. Because when you don't take accountability, then you continue to do that thing. You continue to hurt your partner over and over again. Right? So is it painful to take accountability? Sometimes it is. Is it embarrassing? Yep. Are you filled with shame? Sometimes you are. But the other side of that is we build an intimacy. We build trust. I can trust him with my heart because when I'm taking accountability, he's not throwing it in my face. When he's taking accountability, I'm not throwing it in his face. We are a safe space for one another. And we always say to couples, either you married an evil person or you married somebody who's hurt. So if they're hurt and they do something, that means you have helped to cause that hurt.
They don't want to hear that.
Right? So explore. Okay, you're acting a certain way. Ask the questions instead of making the assumptions and making statements about someone's behavior. If somebody is acting out, just like with our kids, we're going to figure out, why are they acting out? This is not like them. Why are you fighting at school all the time? Why can't we ask our spouse the questions? Why are you being disrespectful? Why are you being short with me? Why are you cutting me off? What's going on? You'll find out a lot if you ask questions, and you'll see where it is that you've hurt them.
Now, it's not just, we don't just focus on ownership. We as a couple, as a collective, our focus is extreme ownership.
Extreme. You said it, yeah.
We see a lot of this in I see it in two places, in special operations, and I see it in the medical field. When if you ever go to a teaching hospital and you are in rounds where you have the attending physician and they have their residents and their interns and then medical students, and they're going around to see their patients from room to room, it's brutal, bro. Bob, why the hell did you do that? Well, what were you thinking about when that's happening? Ownership is the rule of the day, but it's extreme ownership with special operators, because lives are on the line.
Life or death.
Right? It is about, okay, why did you move to the left and not to the right? You'll have a friendly fire incident, or you'll have incidents where something happens. They have a debrief, and they don't have time to sit around and like, well, I didn't do nothing. Well, you didn't do nothing. Well,
and the thing about marriage, lives are on the line.
Lives are on the line.
Literally. Right? We don't get married just to get a divorce.
Right.
So you have to think long term. If I continue to not take accountability, if I continue to hold resentment and all the other things, what's going to be the end result of that?
And so you have to look, you almost have to search for, what could I have done? What did I do? Could I have done anything to keep this situation from happening and this outcome from happening? What could I have done? And it might not be enough, but extreme ownership is like, you know something? I shouldn't have raised my voice. It might be something as small as the raising of the voice, or, you know something, I speak with my hands a lot and I got to watch my gestures, and I know you don't like that. And so it might not seem like
a big deal to you.
Right. And so you would not, just with ownership, it's not something you would see. But with extreme ownership, you're searching like, what could I have done better? And there's always something you could have done better.
Yeah.
And now that doesn't mean it's your fault, but it is your responsibility to figure out the part that you played in it, and then to do better in the next time.
Boom.
I like that. That actually addresses, we had Christopher Lil John send over a message. He said, love you guys so much. That's a capital S-O. How can I go about changing my mindset to be more accountable and genuine? I think you guys addressed that very thoroughly. We appreciate that. And then we got Jonathan Adams. He says, awesome couple on the panel. So much wisdom, you got to pay for it. I'm becoming a CLC, and this is, what's a CLC? I'm becoming a CLC, and this is helping me so much, giving me the cheat codes. Thank you. Yo, Jonathan, let us know what a CLC is.
Facts.
And shout out to Kenan. He sent over a couple super chats during that call in. And that call in was riveting, by the way.
It was.
We guys, we're gonna work on that call in. That was the first time we ever did it. We're officially making history, but we're gonna improve that to make sure it's crystal clear. So be patient with us. But the next call ins, plural, that we do, they're gonna be lit. Now we got something for Anna M. Anna M says, what's your stance on unconditional love? Does it mean love no matter what, stay no matter what, or just keep loving no matter what within marriage?
That's a good question.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I just I wrote a book and I just dropped it.
Congrats, by the way.
Thank you. Called Wife You. So y'all go get that book, right?
Wait, where I copy it?
We need that link too.
Want all the merch
I
here.
gotta get that link back.
Yes. Yeah, we do need the link. Yes, so we can put it here for the people. But go ahead.
And I talk about unconditional love, and unconditional love doesn't even come from us as humans. That is a God thing. Period. Because as much as I love Shannon, I'm going to have as we talked about, my expectations. I'm going to feel some kind of way at times, right? Like there are just going to be things that he's not going to always show up. I'm not always going to show up. And the human in me is going to feel a certain way.
Thank you for keeping it real with that, Shirley, because I've always felt the exact same way.
Right. So for me, what I say is when it comes to quote unquote unconditional love, it is simply when he doesn't show up, how am I going to treat him?
Mm.
As best as I can as a human. Right. And then I need the power of the Holy Spirit to help me take it to the next level.
Mm.
So we've grown to this point of, and listen, we still bump heads now. We still get in disagreements and things of that nature, but we've grown to the point where it doesn't last as long now.
Right.
Right. Things are going to happen. So I think people hang on this unconditional love, and you may feel like, well, I don't love them because I don't have quote unquote unconditional love because I'm feeling a certain way about them. And you're so focused on that unconditional love when you should simply be focused on showing up the best way you can in every moment. And when you don't, when you fall, you get back up. And do it all over again. And hopefully next time you do it better. I don't focus on unconditional love because it's just not in us. My opinion, it is because, listen, you hear people say, oh, I love him unconditional. Well, if you love him unconditional, why are you disrespecting him? Why are you being dismissive? Why are you holding the goodies? That's not unconditional love.
Don't hold the goodies. Don't hold back the goodies.
I mean, you know what I mean?
I know exactly
Like,
what you mean.
It's just so sis, don't focus on the unconditional, just focus on loving, just focus on being love and doing the best you can at that in every moment.
And just let me just another tap. It's just a little something to tweak the unconditional love. We got to understand it too, that this thing that is described as unconditional love, the Bible calls it agape or agape, right? That's not a feeling.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And we tend to, when we use, unfortunately, in the English language, there's only one word for love, and it's love. But of course, in the Greek language, there's 4 words for love. And so you got to, you got to understand what you're saying when you say, I love you, right? You love me. Do you eros me unconditionally? Do you agape me unconditionally? Do you filio me unconditionally? Do you storage me unconditionally? Like which one are you unconditionally doing? Right? And so because there's a lot of, in the dating world, you got a lot of men. A woman will say to a man, I love you. And that man will say, I love you too. But what she just said is, I filio you and I eros you, right? Which is the friendly or brotherly love. I love you. You're a friend. I like you, being around you, and I'm also passionate about you, right? But they're not saying no matter what you do, I'm not going to lead. They're not saying that. But what we get back and what she got back in return was, I love you too. And what he's saying is, you got a banging body. I love being inside you. I'm passionate about you. I'm so very attracted to you, but I don't really like you very much. And I'm definitely not, in this whole unconditional space.
Wow. So you know what? Damn, that was so profound.
Right? So you're saying 2 different things. And once again, you got to have the conversation. When you say you love me, what exactly do you mean?
So y'all causing a bunch of damn confusion telling each other y'all loving each other. It's a bunch of confusion because I get it, and that's why we even, how it's confusing, because our culture we got little phrases that we try to throw around that just shows we confused. Like, what do you mean? Like, I mean, I love you, I'm just not in love.
Right.
We might even say things to try to bring clarity to it, but we really don't know what the hell we talking about.
And what does that mean? I love you, but I'm not in love with you. But let's say, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I want to be with you. I want to share my life with you. But I'm just not. No, that just means that the feelings that I had, the little googly feelings, the infatuation, the butterflies, those things are no longer there. And they're not supposed to be there.
Right.
They're supposed to ebb and flow. They can come back, but oftentimes they leave, and you have to do listen, guys. Y'all, we got to understand. I want to prepare y'all too, because y'all like my brothers, and I want to prepare y'all. Marriage, and I might have said this on the show before, but I want to reiterate it. It is designed to get worse before it gets better. Right? So when you meet somebody,
Tyshawn, he not excited about that.
When you meet somebody, right? When you start experiencing like bad stuff, like the worst that you could possibly experience with that in that human interaction, it's going to get worse. It's designed to get worse. Because what else will galvanize two people into one? That's pressure. If I asked you right now, and we often ask our couples, we say, put your hands together. And then we say, push your hands together until you have two hands being one hand. It's almost impossible. There's no way that you could push the force that you would need to bring your hands together to make them one hand is almost impossible. So that's what marriage is. It's two people becoming one. Now, two human beings becoming one is possible, but it's going to happen under extreme pressure. But everything that occurs under extreme pressure is beautiful. Diamonds are beautiful. The tropics have tropical storms and hurricanes. But what makes them so green and wonderful and lush and beautiful is this constant reoccurring of storms over and over and over again. So you don't want to run from that. You want to lean into that. And you understand that your trials come to make you stronger. You are supposed to experience this bad stuff because it's the bad stuff that's going to allow you to. One more thing. I don't want to dominate, right? One more thing is really, really important.
No, spit, cook. Let him cook. Let him cook.
Let him cook.
Right? So here's something. We live in a relative world. For every up, there's a down. For if there's an in, there's an out. For ugly, there's beautiful. The only way you understand ugly is if you've seen beautiful. The only way you understand up is if you've experienced down. Right? So if you want the most amazing, wonderful, beautiful relationship that one could ever have, the only way for you to know that it's the most wonderful, beautiful relationship that you could ever have is if you've experienced the worst in that relationship. Because you would have no juxtaposition. You would have no contrast, nothing to compare it to. So you have to go through bad times so you can know what good times are.
And we have a culture where once we like the highs of it, and when we experience the lows, we run.
We run.
Because that does not meet our boundaries, right? We're emotionally intelligent. You know, we have therapists. We have all of these things which is so weird to me. Like, we like the most equipped generation ever. Like
to do nothing.
I'm talking about we got all the tools, the resources, the information, and we boundarying our ways to the divorce court. And man, let me tell you, that was a much needed rant right there, Shannon, because that was really good. I love the breakdown of love. I love the breakdown of the miscommunication, and I think women in general, women probably fall victim to the wordsmiths and the kind of the word salad and even that word love. They get very like intoxicated by that word. And that word love has probably caused so much confusion to people and into relationships, which is why even us as fellas, we got to be real wary about how we throw that. You might even have to be an a-hole. When she said I love you, you just might have to look, be like, for real? Even be careful. Or just more so even ask questions about what that means, because you got to get clarity on what that means when she even says that.
What are you saying to
me?
Like,
what does that even mean? I love you.
But you don't want to do it in an interrogative way.
Right.
You don't want to do it in a sarcastic or facetious way, but you just want to investigate, because what you might be saying to me might be totally different than what I'm receiving. And so I want clarity. And if we can bring that kind of clarity, to our interactions, then we can save ourselves a whole lot of heartache, man.
And
a
that's
whole
why
lot of heartache.
and that's why you shouldn't give your body.
Oh my
right?
goodness! That's
Because-
don't tell them that.
No, because listen,
they about to start dropping out the chat
somebody
right now.
says for
They
real,
log it off.
They logging on. All right, that's it.
for real. Somebody say I love you, and so you want to give them everything, right? Let's see if that love plays out. Let's see what that looks like, right?
Can you love me without this box?
Can you? Thank you. Can you hold out long enough to see what their words, what that love looks like? Because they will show you. If somebody says it just to get the box, they're not going to be able to go long before they get irritated and frustrated and start. It's just let people show you who they actually are before y'all giving y'all body away.
That's true. And honestly, they don't have to actually verbalize it. They can just give you the love experience.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
Look at Tyshawn. He looked guilty.
Yeah.
Chivalrous, complimentary.
Yes.
You I can't wait till you all mines,
Yep.
all these other things that insinuate
Mhm.
that you got that love.
And check this out, especially for my ladies that's been through trauma. It's easy to give y'all a love experience.
Yeah, it is.
You don't even need much. All you need is a nice walk,
Yep.
conversation that stimulates you a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and a glass of wine.
Mm.
You will
Right.
feel love floating all through you, or what you think is love
Mm.
floating all through you. And you will, it's an absolute place of confusion.
Mhm.
Tyshawn, let me ask you this, a personal question. Let's say
Oh,
out of
shit.
10, out of 10,
Come on, baby.
out of every 10, matter of fact, let's just do 5. Out of every 5 dates you've been on,
Mhm.
how many of those women would you say have expressed to you that was the best date they ever been on, or the best experience they've ever had?
Man, I would every 5. I mean, at least 3 or 4 out of 5. I'm really good. And I'm gonna be honest with you, ladies. I'm about to put y'all on game for real.
Mm.
Ladies, be wary of the guy who gives you such an amazing first date,
Right.
because that brother has probably been on a lot of first dates.
He's experienced.
A lot of first
So
dates.
be very wary of the brother that could put you in a crazy first date experience where you like, yo,
Mhm.
this is on another level.
Mhm.
Because trust me, he's that guy there. You really want to hold out for that brother. And I'm really, fellas, don't get mad at me. But look, y'all always getting on how these ladies, they giving it up, they loose in this era. I'm helping our women out right now. Okay.
Thank you.
Nah,
Thank
he's been honest.
No, but that's real. That was something I really wanted to get really good at, because a lot of the guys that grew me up, just the culture I came up in, I grew up in the hunt culture. So I was really the hunt, being good at the hunt with women is being good at communicating with women, harmonize with women, and being good at the first date. The first date in particular,
In particular.
the first date.
Mhm.
Why in particular the first date?
Well, because if
wanna,
you don't,
if especially if your goal is sex with women,
yeah.
if
gotta
you're good at
leave
the
that
first date,
impression.
then I'm gonna be able to have sex very quickly
Yeah.
with the woman.
And anybody who is the bachelors that are talented at just serial dating, the goal is to strike within the first 1 to 2 days, because
It's efficiency.
because after this is the thing, after, if they make it past the 3rd date, that's when they can usually see that you're full of shit. They can see that you're gonna be very inconsistent. They can see that you're not gonna follow through on things. They can see where your priorities really lie. So if you don't actually get access to them within that first 3 days, then the likelihood that
They're
you'll
gonna
be
weave you out.
Yeah,
They're gonna see that you don't really text often, you're not consistent, you're
Yeah.
actually not that creative. Because I really only had like a good first 2 dates. After 2 days, I was like, oh God, what am I gonna do now?
We ran out of the creativity.
Creativity was gone.
And Ty, let me tell you ladies, we being real.
Yeah.
This is like as real as it gets. And the thing is, for you to get into that long-term relationship as a lady, honestly, I think that's just one of the smartest things that women can do.
Yeah.
Is just not just flat out, just don't have
Do
sex.
not
If
have
you're
sex.
serious about wanting to find a long-term partner,
Trying to tell you.
what's gonna happen is, ladies, the suitors, if you want to make the best possible decision and
Mhm.
weave out all of the BS,
Mhm.
and I promise you, the BS comes packaged in ways you've never imagined. The
Mhm.
BS can come packaged in the most charismatic, handsome,
Yes.
Charming.
like charming, void filling, so much better than your last boyfriend,
Mhm.
best date you've ever had. Like it can be packaged in this amazing experience,
Mhm.
putting you on game, teaching you things,
Mhm.
and it's still not what you need.
Yeah.
I promise. So you got to figure out how to best put yourself in the best position. And usually that is when you, that womb of yours, that prized possession,
Mhm.
if you go about protecting it and keeping it, and you know, it's almost like leverage. Like
Well, it's chastity. I think that it's women are confused. A lot of women are confused. They opt for the sexually free. This is my body. I can do what I want to. All of these things, but the reality of the situation is your chastity is the most valuable thing you have.
Mm.
And once you start putting it out there, I mean, it's really no return. And I'm not talking about, you know, the woman who says, you know, I'm celibate now. It's like, look, you can say you celibate all you want, but if you calling me after 10 o'clock, if you going on a date and I just called you an hour ago, if you're doing all of these things that let me know, because you cannot be having sex
Mhm.
and still communicate that you're easy to have sex with.
Mm.
And that's what you know,
Facts.
women have to understand. So it really doesn't matter what you communicate verbally, it's all of these other things. So I just think that's just one of the simplest ways to
Mhm.
get the flies
Yep.
away from your food.
Yep.
You just don't put it out.
Well, so I have just a slightly. I agree with everything that you guys are saying, but let me just add that. But let me add that the ability to be able to not make sex a priority will allow you the freedom to when you do see things that you don't agree with or don't sit
Mhm.
well with you, you are in a better position to move on
Right.
without emotional damage, without feeling that you've compromised something. It is just once you introduce sex, let's say, for example, the guy's not a deadbeat. Like he's a good guy for the most part, but he's just not the guy for you
right.
or gal for you, right? At some point in time, because you've entered into that sexual space with them, it is much more difficult for you to say, you know something, this is not served me.
Mhm.
This is not what's best for me. And so I'm going to move on.
Yeah.
So why not put yourself in a position to be able to make clear decisions? But people always want to check. Like you can have a wonderful, passionate sexual relationship with somebody if you choose to.
Mhm.
You can have that. It's always ways to figure that out. Now, if you got to check packages and check, you know, whether someone is going like to know whether someone like you don't know. Hey, you know how many people played the lottery? They didn't know they was going to win. They didn't know it was a crapshoot. Like it's a crapshoot, but it's fun figuring it out. But people nowadays they want to see the trailer. They want to see the plot to the movie. They don't want to have to do any of that work.
Yeah.
And it's that work that galvanizes. It's not anything other than that.
And I want to, we actually got a bunch of questions and super chats
Yeah,
that piled
I'm
up.
gonna
So go
touch
ahead
some
and
of
take
these.
some of those real quick, Ryan.
Listen, ladies, y'all better stop falling in love with the package and fall in love for what
Come
that man
on.
is actually doing.
Come on,
Because
see
you
what
can
he's
love the
doing.
vision all you want to, but you ain't in it. So be careful. Be careful, ladies. So real quick, shout out to Larry Love Jr. Larry Love, man,
Larry
he's
Love.
like an A+ student. Larry Love
Right.
be
You
learning.
got the coolest name
Yeah.
too.
He says, great topic today. One thing I learned is what you allow will continue. If you allow someone to treat you wrong, it will continue.
Mm.
Agreed. Then he followed up with another super chat. Doubled up, Larry. We appreciate you. This is a good question because I actually briefly watched a video on this. I actually saved it to watch later. But he says, have you ever heard of limerence? And if you look up this word, it explains a lot about our feelings of lust and infatuation. Limerence. Have y'all ever heard of that?
Never heard of
Look that up real quick, Tyshawn. I'm just curious
Interesting.
what that says.
What's the definition?
Well, look it up real quick. Shout out to Wifey. She says, even the man with the tools has to learn how to use them. We got to do our part. That's true. And she says, being abstinent is not easy, but is possible.
Absolutely.
It's not easy.
Yeah, like some people talk about abstinence like it's the Loch Ness monster, something like that.
Yeah.
But I got the word limerence right here. So check this out. Limerence is the state of being infatuated or obsessed with another person, typically experienced involuntarily, and characterized by a strong desire for reciprocation of one's feelings, but not primarily for a sexual relationship.
It says not primarily for a sexual relationship.
Not yeah. So again, the state of being infatuated, obsessed with another person, typically experienced involuntarily, like it's involuntary, and it's characterized by a strong desire for reciprocation of one's feelings, but not for a sexual relationship. Wow. Now, it's something about me, but I don't really like the word infatuation, period, because I think infatuation comes with a level of like, it's like you almost being I think of intoxication when I think of infatuation. And when I think of infatuation, intoxication, I just think you're not thinking clearly as you're kind of moving and making decisions with somebody. I don't know if that's all the way accurate with how it is, but that's just my issue with kind of being infatuated with somebody. Now,
I think infatuation is a real thing, though.
Yes,
it's a real thing.
Yeah.
I think it was. I just want to say this real quick, Tashawn, because I think it's funny. A lot of the men, the bachelors, that's casual dating. One of the things that is the root of their infatuation is with the woman they had a casual experience with, and then that woman goes back and says, "Hey, you know what? Although I enjoyed the casual experience with you, I no longer want that because I want something serious." See how that man acts in. All of a sudden, he cracking, he changing. Well, I guess I am open to a relationship, and that guy will continue to pursue that woman just from being denied another additional casual experience. So I'm curious the ladies that are experiencing that. So men can become infatuated after they get denied, after they have some.
And infatuated is possessed with an intense but short-lived passion or admiration for someone.
It's not real.
It's not,
because you don't want that person,
Right.
but because they don't want to go there with you again, all of a sudden your interest is at its peak.
Yeah. So I try to, don't get me wrong, I love, like, that feeling when you just it's like it is a high that you can have with somebody. Like when y'all are just the chemistry is just so high. And like y'all can almost, it's like that's what they call a cloud nine. Like you almost like you elevate up out of here with this person. The conversation is just so good. You feel this energy that you guys are just having together. It's so magnetic. I think that's beautiful. But I think infatuation is a little bit something different. And when you start going a little bit too far left or too far right, that's when it becomes a bit dangerous. But don't get me wrong, y'all. I'm pro chemistry. I'm pro the vibe. I'm pro all of those things.
The vibe.
I'm pro the vibe, y'all.
vibe.
I'm pro the vibe. But watch out for being infatuated with any of these people because, again, it's short-lived. It's not real. It's a high. It's a drunk. You wake up and you might look up and be like, "What have I done?"
Right.
I'm never drinking this again.
That's a very, very good explanation or description of infatuation.
No, absolutely. And guys, what I want y'all to do is I want y'all to send y'all super chats over because listen. Well, y'all have the opportunity now to ask these people, to ask these wonderful couple and coaches questions, and we're not going to be on here forever tonight. So I want y'all to go ahead and get your super chats in while we are still here, so you can ask your questions and you can get your game in.
We got one from Deanna Brooks.
Crazy.
Yeah, the chat is going crazy. We got over 460 people in the room right now. So shout out to Shannon and Shirley. We got Deanna Brooks, CPA. Okay, one of our professional, successful, smart, and intelligent young ladies. She says, I believe the quest.
That's an assumption.
Well, she a CPA. I mean,
that's hard. Come on now, that's hard.
You can just remember stuff. You can just study hard and just memorize.
He trying to diss our memory.
Shout out to the CPAs out there. She says, I believe the quest for sex has done so much damage to men and women, which has torn us apart from each other as people. I agree with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I totally disagree with that.
Really?
I think the inappropriate, it's misplaced. Sex is amazing and wonderful, and it's the thing that makes you married. It is when your wedding night. If you could get into, so what the difference between
about singleness? Though.
She probably talking about
marriage,
just the looseness of it,
right? But still though, there are people inside of the marriage union that are like, sex isn't. Why are you making it so deep? It shouldn't be that deep. Why is it so important to you? Why is that? Why is that such a thing? And well, it's such a thing because it's the thing that makes you married,
Mm.
right? So if you don't have sex, right, and you went to, you know, a priest or a pastor or a justice of the peace, you could get an annulment, not a divorce, if you did not consummate the marriage.
Wait, hold on.
If you don't have sex.
If you
if
do
you've
not
had
have
married,
sex,
if you've got married and you never had sex,
and you didn't have sex, you don't have to get a divorce. You can get an annulment because you never consummated the marriage.
Whoa.
So sex is the thing that makes you married.
Hold on now. Wait, I ain't never heard that one.
That's probably
It's-
because everybody having sex without marriage.
It's the thing that makes you married. It's the thing that what's the difference between if Shirley and I were not having sex, we'd just be homies. Really good really good friends.
That is true. Sex is what separates a lot in these relationships.
But because it's been so casualized, now it does not hold the significance that it did hold, you know, in them old-timey, old-fashioned relationships. Now it's just something that you could do, and you're free with your, like you talked about, you're free with your body, you're free to do whatever it is that you want to do. But there's a significance to the sexual relationship that should not be trivialized.
Absolutely. So both of you are right, because she is definitely accurate, especially in the single realm. Like,
Yeah.
everybody chasing sex and you're chasing nothing.
so
That's what it ends up.
let me ask you guys this, because I want to bring some some closure to the previous relationship, the conversation that we were having when we were talking about resentment, because I want you to talk to that person out there that is in a place where they are currently resenting. And I want you to talk to them to figure out how to get them out of this place that they're currently in with their partner. Where do we begin when we talk about them now getting back to a place of peace in their relationship? What does that look like?
So one of the first things is just understanding what you're resentful about and why. Sometimes we think we know what we're resentful about, but when we really start asking ourselves questions, it'll be something different than what we originally thought. Right? And so you have to say, what am I actually resentful about? Why do I feel this way? Is it a legit reason? Right? What were they doing something to me, or were they being honest about how they felt? Right? It's so many layers to this resentment piece. And then if it's legit, have the conversation with the other person about what that resentment is. And if it's legit and it has nothing to do with the person, it has everything to do with you, have a conversation with yourself and get to the root of what your insecurity is. What is that issue? Everything is about, we all come to the crossroads of communication when it comes to relationships, right? And so it's simply about having the honest conversations and saying, you know what, this is what I'm holding. See, what we feed grows. And so if you keep feeding that resentment without addressing it, it is going to turn into something very poisonous. And so you have to be able to just lay it bare on the table. Just say what it is and allow the person to then have their comeback. See, this is one of the challenges when it comes to resentment and problems in the relationship is we want to excuse, we want to justify, and we don't want to understand the other person's part. And so when you speak on what you have resentment about and the other person has their take, you have to accept it.
Must.
Or else we're not going to come to a resolution. We'll just continue to resent each other more.
And we call that NJL, non-judgmental listening. Like we're so quick to want to interject or fix or excuse or adjust. It just sometimes you just got to sit in it and just receive it and process it. Some people are, while you're talking and having a conversation, they are formulating their response. They're not even
Mhm.
paying you any attention.
Mm-hmm.
And so the goal is to really get a true understanding. This level of communication, it's vulnerable, and it's where intimacy lies. Intimacy is not physical. There is physical intimacy, don't get me wrong, but the intimacy that we are in search of comes from non-judgmental communication. Me being able to share my heart with Shirley, good, bad, or indifferent, her receive it, not try to change it, judge it, shift it, explain it away, or criticize it, none of that. Just to sit and listen to it and receive it, and then for me to do the flip.
In this part, a lot of people don't want to hear, but you have to. Sometimes you are justifiably resentful. Period. But what you do with that is even more of a problem than what was done to you. See, we think because we're justified, then we can go ahead and add fuel to the fire.
Mm.
And that is so problematic.
If you got some good evidence and you got some good reasons behind, your case.
And listen, but guys, this is why we always say, who is it that you want to be? Right? Your character. Who is it that you want to be? Because when you are solid in who you want to be, and who you want to be is a person of integrity and character, and you want to be mature and things of that nature, then I can never say I have good reason to be this way. Even though my resentment is justified, I have to be able to handle my resentment in a very mature way. That's the work that people don't want to do, because that does take work.
That's beautiful. We actually had Judge Lynn on here, and she was in a place where I think she said for about maybe
3 years or
good,
something like that. 3
more
to
than
5.
that. Yeah, about 5 years. She was just unhappy with her husband every single day, complaining to her mom regularly. And she said, I'm gonna tell you what you gotta do, but you're not gonna like it. And her mom was like, she was like, what? Her mom was like, you're gonna have to change. And she was like, but Ma, I'm not wrong. He did this, he did that, he did this. She went through a whole slew of all the things that he was genuinely doing wrong. And the mom responded with, do you want to be right or you want to be happy? And at the end of the day, when she actually had to swallow that pill and accept the fact that she wanted to be happy, she went ahead and she said she had to make the change that eventually inspired the change in him.
Wow.
And when you think about that, that's a very hard thing for someone to do, especially someone that's dealing with somebody else, that they can viably and say that person's actually the one causing the pain. But now I'm the one that got to change because of you. And I mean, that's just a level of maturity, that, man.
That is. And think about it. If I'm disrespecting you, it will cause you to feel a certain way, and you can disrespect me. You feel like you could disrespect me. So how come the opposite? We don't put that same energy into the opposite. If I can love you continually, it would automatically cause you to want to love me. Let me say this. There are caveats, right? Because there are some people who are just not good human beings. You understand? So it doesn't matter how much you love them.
Right.
It's not going to be returned back to you. But if you choose wisely, you can love. The Bible says love covers a multitude of sins. Love heals. Just like my lack of love can cause a lack of love, then my love can also cause love.
And let me tell you, we got, oh my gosh. These questions in here about to keep, questions in here go so crazy.
Yeah, the questions actually inspired me. I think we need to come up with like some kind of speed round segment, which is just for the members to send us some questions. But let me check a couple of these out because there's some really good questions. So Xavier, I believe that was the first one. Shout out to Xavier Johnson sending over his first super chat.
X to the Z.
Yeah. He says, my marriage is actually still suffering from premarital sex. We 4.5 years in. So they've been married for 4.5 years. No sex. Still. And they're still in their 20s. and she's wanted a divorce for the past 3 years. They have a 4-year-old. So they had premarital sex for 4.5 years. They haven't had sex. They're still in their 20s, and she's been wanting a divorce for the past 3 years, and they got a 4-year-old.
Wow.
Does she want a divorce because
They're not
he's
married.
not? He
Go
said
ahead,
they
yeah.
had sex.
Yeah,
Before they got
Xavier,
married.
listen, he just sent another one. He said he wants to fix this, but Xavier, let us know. Give us some more context. So y'all had sex. Did that premarital sex, was that
Produce the baby.
produce this baby? And since y'all have been married, like actually since you have been married, has the marriage been consummated? So Xavier, let us know that. And just send us as much information as you can real quick, Xavier. We're gonna come back to it. But real quick, while we wait on Xavier, Tia P, one of our lovely members, she always very, very active. She says, okay, so Tia P must be single. She must be dating. She says, what does Marriage Inc. think of the 90-day rule? Y'all familiar with the 90-day rule, right? Just
Yes.
no
To
sex.
hold out for 90 days.
Hold out for
I
90
got my
days.
thoughts on that.
No, I mean, somebody could be like, oh, I can hold out for 90 days and then get the sex and then leave.
Yeah, the 90 days you can.
So that's a game, right? This
you
is
can do
about
anything for
you can
90
do anything
days. You
for
can
90
wait for
days.
90 days.
Yeah.
No, there should be no rule. Just don't have sex. Stop it.
I wouldn't wait for 90 days, but there's some sick suckers out there who would be not serious and wait around the 90 days.
Now here's okay.
I've seen
let me
it,
get-
yes.
let me give some savage advice, because I get the holy advice is the best advice. Let's be clear.
yes.
Okay. The reality of the situation is most of our people are not going to not have sex before marriage. That's the unfortunate reality.
Unfortunately.
If you're going to do a 90-day rule, one, do not tell nobody that you have a 90-day rule.
Never.
That is just absolutely silly, because now he's just like waiting in line and he's just waiting for his ticket number to be called.
Yep.
So don't operate. I would just communicate that you don't have sex.
Mhm.
Like that's just not something that you're interested in until you want to take it the long haul.
Make
You
sure
know
all
what?
of those other actions are consistent as well. Don't just say you don't have sex, but then you do all these other things that he's gonna put you to the test.
Right,
Heavy
that's true.
petting. And,
No,
and
both
all
of both
types
of both
stuff.
of y'all are right, because you are right. The reality is most people are not going to not have sex.
Yeah.
But when you say something, people are going to be what it is that you say you want.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you're right. Don't say anything.
Turn them off. I
Mhm.
like, be like, nope, I'm not having sex. I'm not having sex till this,
That's
till
right.
marriage. So like, this is the situation, blah, 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 blah. And if you got a 90 rule in the back of your head and you end up getting, be like, oh my God, how did this happen?
You're so crazy.
and also ladies, because I know ladies sometimes they get confused. They're like, look, y'all say y'all want these virgins and women that's not having sex, but then we're not having sex, y'all don't deal with
Yeah,
us.
right.
And that is true. That is true, but that's okay.
Mhm.
So if you're communicating with a guy that you not interested in being sexually active, then hey, it's up to him to decide if he deems you, worthy enough or valuable enough to get to know you on a deeper level and then potentially take it to that next level. But don't feel pressure at any point to have sex just because you
Mhm.
feel like this guy is not going to stay around. Because if he's for you and he's genuinely interested in
Mhm.
you, regardless of sex, in fact, if he's genuinely interested, the fact that you're not having sex, it should make him even more interested
Mm.
because you are an exclusive or a prize at that point. So just don't feel pressured to give it up.
Oh yeah, ladies. Let me tell you, ladies, I've been that guy to put the 90-day rule to the test. So we can get y'all the game all day
Oh, my
on
goodness.
that
Yes.
end of the thing, because I have been the enemy of your abstinence. Trust me.
Come on, the enemy of your abstinence.
Oh,
Ooh, that's a
my
book
Yeah.
right
That's
there.
it, right. That's
That's
a
a
bar.
book right
It's
there,
coming.
That's a
bro.
It's coming.
bar.
Mhm.
It's coming.
And
It's coming.
it's not the buttholes that's out here, I don't want to say taking advantage of these women, but doing some of these things. It's really the
Some
good
good
guy. The
guys.
good guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And that's what's so confusing.
Mm.
That's what's so confusing,
Yes.
ladies. Sometimes he don't always come packaged with a red bandana and sagging pants.
Yep.
Mhm.
Like this, the savage can come packaged in ways you've never imagined. He can come packaged like a husband or the Disney Channel guy that you grew up wanting and waiting for.
Mhm.
And that
Mhm.
ain't him. Trust me.
That
Yeah.
ain't him.
So it is what it is.
Now I got another one that I know you guys are gonna be able to drop some game on. Shout out to Jeremy Womack, send over his very first super chat. Jeremy, we appreciate you. He
What
says,
up, Jay?
can a marriage bounce back from infidelity? And this is the second part, which is good. And at what cost?
Ooh, at what cost?
Yes, at a high cost. It's the cost of your pride, the cost of your ego, the cost of your displaying your true emotional work ethic.
Mhm.
Like some people aren't really about that life, that really being emotionally strong, and as a result, the infidelity is the thing that reveals that weakness. And so you got to decide whether or not you really in it to win it, or you just talking a good game.
I like that. I like that. And I'm looking for Xavier here. I can't find him. Shout out to CT Rob. He says, shout out to the panel. Shout out to Marriage Inc. for life. I don't see Xavier in here. He must have dipped out because I was waiting to get that additional story
Yeah, I
from him.
wanted to hear the backstory on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
But shout out to Kimmy Clark too. Just joined the membership. Kimmy, we appreciate you. And I'm
welcome
about to drop
to the
that.
fam.
Yes, I'm about to drop that membership link again. Guys, we're like this close. We got like a 178, guys. Let's try to get to 190. We just, we so close to 200. And I told you guys, we're trying to figure out something special. We really got to figure out how to work with y'all because we got to put something together because our audience is finding such value and therapy and counseling and coaching, everything that you guys are saying. So we gotta figure out how
I got a couple ideas. We'll
together.
talk about it off the camera. I got a
Excellent,
couple
excellent.
ideas. But let me tell y'all, man, y'all have been, listen, shout out to everybody that went ahead and they got their super chats in because this one here, y'all, we are winding down to the final minutes and moments of this here live. This has been exciting. This has been action packed. I want to let everybody know that we are very serious about these call-ins. Okay, we're gonna be doing it a bunch of different ways, but one of the ways that you can go ahead and make sure you get priority is you can go ahead. First of all, you better be following the Hardly Initiated Instagram channel. You need to go ahead and send us a D to the M. Send us a DM, a direct message with your concern, with your problem, and also some contact information so we can reach out to you and get you set up for one of the future call-ins here because this is something we're gonna be doing. We got the headsets just for y'all. All right. Look, Shirley was pissed when she saw these headsets. She said, you see this hair?
You got to let the ladies
But it's
know.
for y'all.
We didn't do a good job of that.
We
But
didn't do that.
check this out. Okay, Xavier's back.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna come back to you, Lydia, because you got a good question too. But let's go to Xavier. He says, yes, premarital sex produced the baby a year. Oh no, premarital sex produced the baby a year, no sex because of the perineum tear.
Perineum. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he says, I wasn't holding my roll down. So she said she wanted to leave. We have not had sex since. So okay. So this just shows how uneducated I am. So tell me about the perineum tear.
So when a woman, the space between the vagina and the anus,
the gooch.
Yeah,
right?
That's what we call it.
Oftentimes, when depending on like if a woman has a large child or if they have to have an episiotomy, which is cutting of that area so they can get the baby out, sometimes that doesn't heal well.
Oh man.
And so it makes sex painful.
So a year. So that means you might have to go a year with no sex if that tears.
You might have to go,
Wow. Okay.
But
So,
but it's not, that ain't the issue. They were sexual. They had a baby, right?
Yep.
But he said it. What did he say?
He said I wasn't holding my roll down.
Yeah.
I was not holding my roll down. Now that's so much to unpack right then and there.
Right.
But she drew a hard line in the sand, like, this is what I expected. You are not being, we talked about expectations earlier. You're not living up to the expectations I had of you as a husband. And as a result of that, I'm withholding the box.
And it would be interesting.
Now, you shouldn't do that, but, there's a reason why. It's not just arbitrary. Hey, I don't want to be that kind of wife. Clearly, at some point in time, she was attracted to him. So it's not
Can you come
that.
back? Can you come back from that?
Yeah,
like
of course.
once a lady
you
just
can.
loses
Yeah, we
attract-
came back
You
from it.
can.
Okay.
We came back from what? Just not having sex?
Well, just not what Shirley. It was a point in time where Shirley said my touch felt like rape.
Wow.
How do you come back? Because I can already imagine if I was dealing with something like that, just as a man, you want to do something and then you want to see like, oh, am I, did I get my points? You kind of want to always know where you stand in that. So what did you do to recover from that? Like, is it some steps? Is it a certain time period?
And before we even go to the recovery, how long were you guys in like that place where it was just non-intimate?
Long time.
That was a long time. When that happened, that was about 8-9 months that he didn't touch me when I told him that.
Wow.
Yeah. And again, we were in a very dark space. And I always say that's when Shannon really showed me Jesus. Like, I had never seen anything like that before and hadn't seen it since, even though he's an amazing man. But at that point in time, he literally like loved me, served me. And I was being mean and distant and dismissive. And I didn't want to have anything to do with him. And he would cook and clean the house and want to rub my feet. And I just, don't touch me. I don't want to eat food that you cook. Like, it was bad.
And he kept at it.
And he kept at it.
What motivated you to do that? Like, how were you able to continue to serve her in that place? Was it coming from a place of guilt? Was it coming from a place of love? Like, what was it?
It was a combination. I knew the savage I was before, but how she got to that space. I knew the man I was, and that wasn't very good. And so it was me doing what I thought was necessary to demonstrate that I don't want to be that guy.
Wow.
Pretty simple.
Wow.
And that
how
takes
long
time.
did you do that? Like, how long were you in that place of serving and not getting any response?
I
back?
don't even know. I don't know.
Was it over a year?
I couldn't tell you, bro.
Well, it was
Wow.
at least 8-9 months because he did not touch me for that long. And he just was focused on serving me, on being a different husband, being the husband that he thought I needed and that he wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
What inspired that though? Like, how did that just fall out the sky and just like, what was there any, was it a moment?
I was confronted with how horrible. Remember I talked about when we were with the guys.
Yeah.
I just was confronted with the true nature of the husband that I was.
Okay.
And I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to be that guy at all.
You had to win your woman back, literally.
Yeah.
And I wasn't necessarily trying to win her back. My focus was being a different dude. And it just so happens that it won her back.
I like that. I
wasn't doing it to win her back. I just decided to be different.
And
I'm kind of in a space like that now.
No,
Would you
yeah,
agree?
he's amazing.
But
that's
I don't necessarily mean from that, like now, like I have a friend of mine. So I've been doing extra work. So I'm a disabled veteran, but I can work. I mean, I can do things to earn an income. And although we do have our coaching business, what Shirley doesn't like is to see a man laying around. And I had gotten to a point.
No woman likes that.
Right. I had gotten to a point because of, the things that brought me to being disabled. I was at a point of just laying around. I was doing stuff associated with our platform and what have you, but I still wasn't feeling. And I was talking to a good friend of mine. Shout out to Shelton Morgan. He's engaged to our wonderful friend, Nicole. Man, I was listening to him talk about her, and he was like, man, this woman loves me so much, I'd do anything for her. And he was like, he works hard, long hours. And he is like, I'll do anything for her, man. And I was like, so I'm doing extra work. And, the goal is to do some things and help build our platform and stuff. You got to invest in your platform, right? But I'm doing this extra work. And bro, it at times it tears my body down. Like I'm a disabled veteran for a reason.
Right.
But she's worth it. I'll go to the ends of the earth for her. If I work myself to death, it would be a noble death because she's worth it. And I didn't always have that mindset, but he helped to encourage me, like, and he didn't know he was doing it. He was just talking about the love of his life. He was just talking about how amazing she was and how wonderful. And I was like, my wife amazing. My wife is wonderful. And I was like, you know something? So I went and took my skill sets that I have, that I acquired, that had me on the road, and I've been working like a dog, ain't I, babe?
Yeah, baby.
I'm gonna be honest.
I like that.
Y'all done been through all y'all done been through to save everybody else
Mhm,
in this world.
mhm.
Like y'all have really. You talk about y'all don't. If there is an end of this world, y'all done been there.
We've
All right.
been there.
Y'all have absolutely been there. And I mean, just I like to go to the gym.
Mhm.
And when I think about just like when you in the gym, you just got a lot of respect for the strongest men in the gym.
Mhm.
The strongest men in the gym, they just got like this level of like prestige
Mm-hmm.
and respect from everybody. Everybody just make sure you give them a pound. Like strong guy, you get them a pound. You might even go out your way to get them a pound.
Right.
And I gotta go out my way because for y'all have a level of strength, resilience that is just almost like mythical in this age and this culture and this time that we live in, where like everything that y'all have worked through and have pushed through goes against all of what you hear in the space of mental health, relationships, what you should be withstanding, and all of that. Y'all have damn near broke the rules of, you know, what somebody should be doing to keep and maintain peace, just all of these buzzwords. But we see the finished product of like just two beautiful, kind, great human beings who now got a hell of a testimony, a family, and are now saving other people that's probably experiencing this. So I really do appreciate you guys. I don't know if I've expressed that on any other shows prior, but I appreciate your work. And you know, you guys actually standing in there, because again, I talk about it. I'm a product of a divorce home, so I know what all happens when that takes place. I'm way less connected with a lot of my family because we were the house that people would travel to come in town. You know, my pops was the DJ, my mom was the hostess and the cook. You know, so now we way less connected as a community and as a family because of what happened. And just it's so many other effects. I don't know how that marriage still existing today would have been affecting everybody else around it. So I mean, the fact that y'all really just went through just all the shit, because y'all probably even went through more than my parents did.
That's a high cost I had to pay.
It's a very
high cost,
very, very high cost.
Y'all on point though, and we just met y'all's firstborn, Jelani.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, handsome young man. Clearly, he's very smart. He was, you know, because I'm telling Ty about I'm listening to Tim Ross and these other things. He's like, oh yeah, I heard that one too.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's
so he's investing in
Yeah.
himself. Yeah, so shout out to y'all. Y'all got
My son, Jelani, he said to me out of the blue, random. It's so interesting, Ty, what you was just saying. Out of the blue, random. He said, "Thank you for not leaving my mother."
Wow.
This is what he said.
Damn.
He was like, "Thank you for not leaving my mother," and he has benefited from this work that we have done. You know, I'm here. I'm really living. So when I say I'm here, I'm like at this podcast city because of her. I could have very easily, with the amount of work that I've been doing and how I'm feeling right now, I could have very easily called y'all and been like, "Hey,
Not
bro,
today.
we can't do it today. Like, you know, I know it's short notice. What y'all got in the holster, you know, that y'all could do, you know, on your." But I'm like, it's no way I could. Now I got to drive. You know, I drove an hour and 15, hour and 10 here. I got to drive that hour and 10, 15 back, and be able to work at 7 a.m.
So look, we on that note, we got to make sure we get y'all back.
Yeah.
I want y'all to at least
No,
listen.
I didn't say that for that. I just wanted to say that that she has made me want to love her so much that I'm willing to do whatever it takes for. And I'm not gonna kill myself. I feel good, and I feel good driving back. But I just wanted to highlight that it even from the darkness can come something that's amazing and beautiful, and that could help change the world.
And I feel
If you stick through it. If you stick through it.
I feel the need to add to that too. When Jelani was 9 years old, Shannon and I were really contemplating divorce. And so I asked him, how would you feel if mommy and daddy got divorced? At 9 years old, he said, I would want to kill myself.
Wow.
At 9. So this is not light work, this whole divorce thing.
You asked them that because you were considering it?
We were considering it. Yeah.
Wow. I don't think people ask their kids that.
And I wanted to know, like, how would you feel? And that's what he said. And that is one of the things that helped me be like, Lord Jesus, Shirley.
Right.
Right. Like, so when we talk about, oh, we shouldn't stay for the kids. No, sometimes you should stay for the kids. Absolutely. And when you stay, figure out how to make it work. Period.
And listen, we're gonna end it right there.
Well, we got one more. Just one. Just one. We can make it quick.
Look, last super chat, y'all.
It's the last one. Lydia, please, drop a fire emoji if you're still in the room, Lydia, because we got to get to this one. And shout out to Deanna Brooks, that CPA, that smart one,
yes.
that beautiful, talented one I was talking about. Now. She just joined the membership. Shout out to Deanna.
CPA.
But real quick, Lydia Weir, she says she agrees with waiting till marriage for sex. Okay, shout out to Lydia. She says she specifically waited to marriage, and then she found out on her wedding night that her husband was impotent.
Wow.
Any advice? And let's be clear, not just for me, but for the listeners. Impotent is what is that?
That means you cannot achieve an erection.
Oh, okay.
For whatever reason.
Lydia, what's the how long has it been now, Lydia? How long has it been now that y'all been married?
So
and to be honest, that is the fear of not having sex, like, right, getting with somebody and
you don't do the test
then
drive.
they can't perform.
Yeah, but
Like,
that's not even about fear and whether the brother should have said my dick don't get hard.
Oh, for
He wasn't
sure.
vulnerable.
He should have been honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And which leads, if he wasn't able to say to her that truth, then what foundation was he building that marriage on?
Yeah.
If he couldn't share that and give her the opportunity to make a decision, you know, I feel that breaks my heart.
Yeah, I hope she got an annulment after that.
Wait, hold on.
Lydia.
So you saying they should get an annulment right after that? Because
I mean, that's huge.
They got
That's
married under
huge.
false pretenses.
And she waited. She held her chastity that long. Yeah, Lydia, not married. It wasn't. Oh, she said no. Not it was a no because he decided
It was an annulment.
Good.
Mhm.
Good.
Yeah, wow. Shout out to Lydia.
For real, shout out
Shout
to Lydia.
out to Lydia.
Come on, Lyd in the
real.
building.
She said straight after.
Liddy in the city. She said, not today.
Lydia, listen, I know you was hot and ready, so I hope you ain't go
She
out
was
there and
super hot
go
and
too
ready.
crazy. I
Right.
hope you go out too crazy, Lydia.
And listen, that wedding night must have been real awkward. Like,
oh my
Right.
God.
like
Like, was he like, man, I don't know what's wrong. Like,
I mean, he
maybe
needed,
I'm tired.
Hey, no,
Like,
no, that brother need to watch them other episode we did. Look, how to love you, love you sex game. Because if he knew how to use these things right here, you would have been happy either way.
Y'all gotta watch that episode, by
you
the
a
way.
mess.
Yeah, y'all gotta watch the episode. Level up your sex
You
game.
are bad.
Y'all
And
know,
shout out-
what this means. And if you watched it, y'all know what this means.
Yeah, that was.
my goodness.
We did
you
our
got
first.
the little youngin over there.
He don't know what's going on.
No.
We had our first sex episode, our first sex educational health episode, or
Very
sex
educational.
intimacy episode, and it was, I mean, by far. I mean, I think y'all could have learned something.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah,
I
think
man,
I
it was
learned a little bit.
incredible.
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
listen,
Yeah.
we need to do. We want. We'll talk about it off. We'll talk. I don't want to leak it.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about it after. But we got a great sexual episode for you guys.
I love it.
Ooh.
Great.
I love it. Shout out to
Outstanding.
Joyce Daniels. Joyce, she was probably upset we didn't give her a shout out. So Joyce, if you join while we live on the show, we don't forget to shout out. So I got to go back. We have some people join on the replay. So I'm going to go back. But Joyce, we appreciate you just as well. And Lydia, yeah, very strong. Thanks for sharing that with us. That
Lydia
is
in the
unfortunate
city.
because she was ready.
She was ready.
She was ready.
Seems like
And,
you're ready. ready.
Right. So Lydia, good luck on your next
Yeah,
next
definitely.
your next guy.
Rub
that,
up against it just a little. Just rub
Yeah,
up.
right.
And don't let, and don't let that don't let that change your moral values. Don't let that
For
make
real,
you think.
though.
You did a good job. And
Yeah.
but I think maybe it's a we'll just talk about another episode, but maybe it's a way that you can test that
Mhm.
somehow.
Just
prior.
ask the question: does your dick get hard?
Right,
Just ask that.
right.
Damn.
Take a shower together or something.
I
don't
mean,
know.
he could say yeah though. So
So y'all,
How you
are y'all
tell you
against
test
are y'all against hand jobs too? Is hand jobs sex?
Brother.
We got another.
That's
We
that
got
Bill
a-
Clinton sex.
I'm just
You
saying.
We
That's
got
that Bill
another young
Clinton
lady
sex.
in the chat that says she experienced the same thing and
Wait,
got it
what?
annolled. Yes, we
well,
might
I'm
have to do an
glad they
episode on
got
that.
it.
Wait, so these annulments are really popping off? Like-
Yeah,
Yes.
So these brothers be presenting like, you know what, baby? Let's hold out till marriage.
right.
That's like the new flex now.
Now performance anxiety is one thing, but knowing ahead of time that
Yeah.
you are impotent,
and cannot get hard.
you just it's just not possible, and you did not divulge that information. That's being
Yeah, I
married.
better
under
go
I
false
ain't even gonna
pretenses.
hold you. If a dude is zealous about holding out, I'm already thinking why.
Oh, he
That
like,
ain't
"Dawg,
even how a man is made up.
That's true.
So ladies,
Like for real.
That's true.
if he ain't trying to come at that box,
Hey, I wasn't
He-
trying to come at the box at first. Now, come on now.
Oh, nigga, yes you will. Don't even. Please.
Hey, y'all see? It's after
Please.
10:30. Y'all already see.
it's getting a little crazy in here, y'all.
Listen, real quick. I wanted to call out a couple of people that are really engaged in the chat and really engaged on all the videos we watch, but they still haven't joined the membership.
Call him out.
Bari Tunde and Hey U7 Her 3.
Yeah.
Y'all are gotta be some of the most active people we got.
And my brother Ikine, is that how you pronounce your name?
Ikene, I think.
We need
all
the
three.
brothers. The brothers. We need the brothers especially to be up in here.
Yeah, all three of y'all, and they got some really. Usually, it's opposing feedback, especially for me and Tyshawn.
Yes.
But y'all are so active. We gotta have that perspective. I think y'all add a lot of spice to the conversation. So please
Yes.
join the membership, because as we start getting more people, more super chats, it's going to become even more exclusive. And especially to those call-ins, I thought that was so riveting today. Once we get it right, we are going to make the call-ins comment section members only. So please join, because we need that spice. Y'all add a lot of spice to the chat.
Yes, y'all. So listen, thank you guys so much, man. This was wonderful. First of all, Marriage
Thank
Inc.
you.
Shout out to Marriage Inc. Y'all.
Thank you.
Y'all already know these the dopest marriage
yo,
coaches in the
yo.
game, so you already know. Ryan,
I wanna
go
do a
ahead
giveaway.
and drop
A
you wanna
giveaway?
do
Yeah,
a
I'm down.
giveaway.
Let's do it.
I
Let's
wanna-
do
I-
the giveaway.
The first three. So I have a book that I wrote called Wife You, the ABCs of winning his heart. Right.
Okay.
And so it's literally from A to Z. Right. So
I
A,
like that.
apology, B, believe. Right. And
Don't
I,
tell them the secret.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And but I break it down, and it really helps with connection, intimacy, communication, all of that. So the first three people that put their email in, we're going to give you guys that book.
No.
Woo!
The first three people that give their emails and join and subscribe, join the subscription,
Yep.
will get the book.
So we got it. Check it out. Okay. We're gonna make sure we understand the rules of this, because this is live. This just came up. Y'all gonna get the book, Wife You, written here, Marriage Inc.'s own. Okay. Shirley Austin is gonna give y'all some game. And what
Oh,
you need
yeah.
to do is they need to subscribe to the channel.
Mhm.
They need to sign up for the email list. And was that it?
No,
And
subscribe to y'all channel.
subscription.
Okay,
Oh,
subscribe.
no. Everybody in the chat is already subscribed. You can't even get in the chat unless you subscribe.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Well, even the
Oh,
listeners,
oh,
even the listeners,
okay.
that's not in the chat. If you want the book, I need you to go ahead and subscribe, and you need to go ahead and sign up for that email list. And those who do that, we're gonna select 3 of you guys to go about getting the book sent. We'll let you guys know who it is, and you guys, what you gonna do? You'll send out to them.
Oh yeah, we're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
email
I'm
him to him.
sending
And another earlier today, I also did a post. We're starting our podcast back up, and we're
Congrats.
doing questions. So y'all follow us on Marriage Inc. DM us your questions, and we'll answer them live. And
Yes.
it's anonymous.
That is beautiful.
I like
guys.
that. I'm gonna go ahead and drop Marriage Inc. back in there. And you gave me another idea for another segment. We need to do like a little giveaway at least once a show.
Mhm.
You know what, y'all? Look at that. They done popped it off. Giveaways on the way, y'all. We're going to start doing some giveaways for you guys, especially for my people that make it, that hang out to this part of the conversation. Y'all some real soldiers, because right now, if y'all on the East Coast, it's 10:45.
Yeah.
And I know we all got bills and things to do, but I respect you guys staying up on here, taking your personal development seriously, taking your family seriously, and intentionally
Yes.
wanting to get better,
Yeah,
because
for
y'all know
sure.
that's the kind of conversations we have. The kind of conversations y'all hear on Hardly Initiated, y'all will not find anywhere else. All right. These are real conversations with real people that's really qualified to be inside of the conversation. And we're going to keep it coming. Thank you guys again so
Thank you.
much
Thank you.
Thank you.
for being a part of this conversation as
Thank
well.
you so much.
We got our last super chat here, just some love. Wife says everyone is not celibate for the same reasons. That's the truth. That is the truth. We got some imposters out here, some phonies out here, some what they call the other one, a CH. What they call it? Some shama something. What they call it?
Charlatans.
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 We got some charlatans out here in the game. Okay, but
They call them cowwinds and eavesdroppers in certain communities.
listen, all of that, ladies. So watch out. But thank you guys for tuning in to another live late night special. I know y'all like these late night specials, y'all.
Lydia it's 4 a.m. Lydia, where are you at? It's 4 a.m. Where she
Oh
at?
my God.
Crazy.
If it's 4 a.m., she's
Cali?
Someone know.
no,
that's
she's in Europe or Iceland or somewhere like that.
Yeah. She got to be on the
Europe
side of
is
the world.
like 6 hours ahead of us.
Yeah.
So
4 Man.
a.m.
Listen, shout out to
Somebody said
everybody
she using pounds.
around the world showing love and being involved in the conversation. But listen, y'all already know, Hardly Initiated, we are out.